KCDC San Antonio. Jason Minix, Rob Thompson, The Blitz.
It is The Blitz. Welcome aboard. Glad you're here. You're on 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM. You're on the go. ESPNSA.com is a perfect location. And if you're just sitting still, it is as well. That way you can watch us live if you went there. He's Jason Minix. I'm Rob Thompson, both in our O'Reilly Auto Parts mobile studios. That mobile applies more to you today as you are completing the regular season of our high school football coverage, Jason. And before we even begin the last one, the ultimate, up until the penultimate, which was last week, congratulations to you guys on what has been a fantastic season of coverage yet again. I would put our high school football coverage and broadcast against anybody, anywhere, not only in the state, but in the country. You guys do a fantastic job. It hasn't gone unnoticed by lots of folks. And congratulations on doing something that I didn't think we were capable of doing.
I mean, it's all in the production, really.
It is really amazing, and yeah, Pledge gets all the credit for pulling this thing off, and and the kids in the school districts for, quite frankly, getting us here. I mean, the fact that we've got December football, and it's a gorgeous day too for December football. It's going to be a lot of fun, but the fact that we have gotten here. In celebrating high school football. And look, this is the regular season finale. We will have playoffs next week. I can tell you that the game we plan on having on the air next Friday night is going to be one that I am very much looking forward to seeing in the first round of the playoffs. We'll announce that as soon as we're allowed to announce that. But it's going to be good, especially when you think about the good that is high school football after the ugliness that we saw last night down in Edinburgh. Right. I mean, just an awful, disgusting scene in the Rio Grande Valley.
I wanted to preface what we were going to have to talk about most of the show, I'm afraid. The water cooler, I'm sure, has been hot with discussion, as yet again we've had a high school football player down here in South Texas, or just a high school athlete down here in South Texas, go after a referee, and this is the worst I've seen. Edinburgh kid thrown out late in the second quarter, literally leveled a referee. It's viral. I hate even using that term. I'm sure everybody's seen it. We're certainly going to talk about it and look at it from every angle, as we have in the past. Sadly, Jason, it is the state of youth athletics where referees are in some cases in danger, and it's kind of endemic. And the end result of that is what we saw last night, where there is absolutely no respect for the position of referee and the violence that ensued. The kid's, I say a kid, even though he's 18, he's ruined it. He's changed his life. His life will be fundamentally different from this point forward, and it will not be for the better.
He's officially been charged with assault. And, I go back and I think about 1999 when Tony Lamone, in a basketball game, a South End basketball player, decked Brent Holmes, who was playing at East Central at the time, and he got arrested and sentenced to 5 years in jail. I think about the kids from Jay a couple of years ago, not 18, and because they weren't 18, the punishment wasn't there. What we saw last night from that kid, and to try to stop this, because we've seen it, too many times in the state of Texas, but too many times across our country, whatever the max is that they're able to do, and I hate saying that about an 18-year-old kid, but there has to be a message sent. And what we saw last night, you send that message.
The punishment, I'm sure, will suit the crime. It is unfortunate, the ramifications of, just a youthful, awful act. The Edinburgh School District has already pulled the entire team out of the UIL playoffs. There are certainly debates on both sides there, but no matter what the outcome or what the decision was, the reasoning behind it, those poor kids that had nothing to do with that are now paying for what was an idiotic mistake. It's sad all the way around.
It is, and I'm not a fan of the decision that Edinburgh's school district made. It wasn't the UIL's decision. It was the school district's decision to pull that team from the playoffs, because that was the crazy thing. That was a win and you're in game last night, and Edinburgh did win. And you look at this kid, he's their best player. I mean, this was the stud of that football team, of that defense. A hell of an athlete, good size on him. I don't know what his college prospects were. He's also a one of the best wrestlers in the state.
He was a state
just,
finalist.
You know, all around incredible athlete. Kick him out for sure, but I don't like, not only are you penalizing the rest of that team and his teammates, but the band and the cheerleaders and, you know, everybody that worked so hard to get through a pandemic year nonetheless. But then, you know, everybody worked so hard. You earned a way into the playoffs. You know, I don't like punishing the team for what was an individual decision, a poor decision by an individual.
We'll certainly talk about it in depth. Anybody who has been a part of any youth sport has seen poor and awful behavior. And what we saw last night was the outcome of that behavior. And I don't know where you even begin to fix it, and that's really where the conversation should begin, because that situation is untenable. This cannot happen in this kind of situation again. There had to have been some red flags that might have shown something might have been occurring, but that was absolutely awful. On the brighter side, the Spurs practice today, Jason.
Hey, training camp. Shocking.
This training camp thing is for real. They actually did finally all get together and start running this new system. We're going to hear from DeJounte talking about his dudes, although we didn't hear that term, and I was waiting, Jason. Did we get a dude? We got one dude.
One.
I think the dude thing should hold on to, because you'll have to hear it. The fact is, I think DeJounte has taken on the mantle of leadership, and there's a very peculiar and interesting statement that he dropped that I think we should all pay attention to, right, Jason?
Yeah. When I heard it, it's kind of like, when you open that little slice of cheese and your dog perks up, they know exactly what that sound is. He said that, and I kind of perked like that. I was like, what? Did he just say that? Play that again. Very, very surprising, especially when he was talking about one of the old vets, maybe the best player on this team, not one of the other young dudes. He said something in reference to an old vet that I thought was very, very interesting.
Yes, we'll have that in just a couple of minutes. And, I'm kind of burying the lead here. Jay Glazer's going to join us here in just a couple of minutes. One of those last-minute pop-ins. Jay's just going to pop in. He was in the neighborhood, and he's going to show up. And, Jay Glazer, certainly the Fox NFL, analyst, insider, whatever you want to call him, but he knows everybody. But in particular with us down here, if you're a Dallas Cowboy fan, we owe a lot of gratitude for what Jay Glazer is off the field. Not only did he help to, rehabilitate and be part of Alden Smith's becoming, his second act here in the NFL, but the things that he's done with friends of ours, Jason, with Ryan Leaf and his MVP Foundation. Jay's just a good dude to talk to with a great mission.
He is. And again, it's amazing the power or influence, probably a better word, the influence that Jay Glazer has with so many, but what he does with veterans. And, an Army-Navy game, next Saturday, and, we'll talk a lot about the Army-Navy game, the best trip we take every year that this year we don't get to go on. But you look at it and you think of what he does with vets, what he's able to do with athletes and bring them together and use his name, his celebrity for so much good. In the case of Alden Smith, and we're familiar with this story now, but I can't wait to ask Jay personally about, Alden Smith and Mike McCarthy and his connections to the Cowboys.
Yeah, he's a compadre with Mike McCarthy. He's on that inner circle, so it'll be interesting to catch up with him and all of the work that he does with the Wounded Warriors, the MVP Foundation, which was really getting our vets back together again. And it's unique how he applies that not only to our heroes, our veterans, but our fandom heroes as well. They share a kinship that Jay has tapped into that has been remarkably successful, and Alden Smith being the primary representative of that. Andrew Monaco will be here at 5:15 for his annual pregame checkup as the A&M gets ready for the most important football game they have played, I will say, in 5 years. And it'll escalate from here. Dollar value is now double as Aggies have entered double jeopardy.
Well, and look, I mean, I don't know if you were watching Scott Van Pelt last night. But right after a random interview with our friend Jake Spavital at Texas State, you have Van Pelt. Normally he does 5 games. He did 10 games last year. He took Auburn in the points. That made me a little nervous. That made me a little nervous.
I continue to stress style points. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Just get to the party. The first thing you got to do is step through the door. You'll find the girl later. We just got to see the A&M team play within themselves, because my biggest fear is they hear all this. And we know that Kellen Mond is really not the guy you want to be overhyped. We want to have this guy feeling like he had a good night's sleep and had been wrapped in his favorite blankie and had his favorite plush toy and read his favorite bedtime story and had his best breakfast, and there's no problems during the day and he's absolutely safe. That's what we want Kellen Mond feeling. We don't want him thinking he has to go make a play. Just be Kellen Mond, because we've seen what happens for the most part. That's rough on Kellen, but it is a young football team that is unaccustomed to being in a situation like this. So first and foremost, win the football game. Andrew Monaco will join us as they get ready for what could be a trip, man. I tell you, Auburn's offense is always scary. And as we do that, we'll also look around all the college and pro world as we go 2 days without an NFL game. I don't know how we've made it this long, but we did. And we do get some football tomorrow. You're out covering the last of the 2020 regular season high school football games. But it appears, Jason, that this might be one of those days that in San Antonio sports history will be annotated, that will be remembered on a variety of lists, because a great man might be doing what he has been great at for so long for the very last time tonight.
It is the regular season finale, wrapping up a 61-year broadcast career for Gary DeLon in broadcasting high school football. Now, I think Gary's going to squeeze in a playoff game or two, and I don't believe this is really it, because he's still walking on this earth. Gary told me when he got to 50 years that was it. Then he said, I want to get to 55. He swears this time he really is going to hang up the microphone, and he will be doing this game tonight, somewhere else, but, in the booth next to us. But, Gary DeLon, you think about Gary DeLon's broadcasting career. He was the first person to report that Kennedy had been shot in Dallas. You think about all the incredible football games that still get talked about. That Linus Bear game down there at Alamo Stadium. Gary was broadcasting that one. Stuff that we've read in history books. He has witnessed and described that history. It'll be fun. We're going to get Gary DeLon to come over and hang out with us on the Blitz. We got to go through a bunch of people to get him to come through, and we got to put some rose petals down on the floor to get him over here. But Gary DeLon, it'll be fun to catch up with Gary DeLon here on what is his final regular season game.
An absolute legend. I'm excited about it. When we come back, let's look at the Spurs. We hear from DeJounte, the young dude with an old dude's attitude. Hold on tight. We'll be right back here on the Blitz, 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM. We're your home for the holidays.
You think about the weekend, you're going to be watching some college or NFL football. You know what you could be doing while you're watching those games? Getting your brakes fixed. Because if your brakes are bad or you think they're going bad, you need to get them fixed, but you don't want to spend the time to go get them fixed. Go to newbrakes.com, nubrakes.com, and they will come to you. You see, New Brakes is a mobile brake shop. They come to you to fix your brakes. They do have Saturday and Sunday appointments, and their certified brake techs will come wherever you are, fix your brakes while you continue to do what you're doing. Whether you're working from home, you're at the office, you're watching the game somewhere, you're taking a nap, it doesn't matter. Your brakes are going to get fixed, and, it's very convenient to you, because that's what New Brakes has done. They've made getting your brakes fixed convenient, affordable, and certainly easy. They're going to come to you, fix your brakes. Most repairs are done in less than an hour. New Brakes uses premium brake parts, and they back all repairs with a 24-month, 24,000-mile warranty. Go read all their 5-star reviews. If your brakes are bad or you think they're going bad, do us all a favor and get them fixed, especially if you're about to head out on a holiday road trip. When you go and schedule your repair at nubrakes.com, mention my name, Jason Minix, or ESPN San Antonio, and you'll save 10%. New Brakes, nubrakes.com. That's nubrakes.com.
Scenic Views, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Every Friday on the Blitz, tune in as we get you ready for the sports weekend. What's on? Big games, intriguing matchups, how to watch them, and more. Scenic Views by Twin Peaks, every Friday on the Blitz.
Mary's Bistro delivery business is bustling and ready to burst.
Orders 34, 35, and 36 are up. Who's handling these? Hello, Mary's Bistro, now delivering.
It's time to hire.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. The moment you sponsor a job on Indeed, you get a short list of quality candidates from our resume database. Indeed delivers 2.5 times more hires than the other branded job sites combined, according to Breezy HR 2019. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get a $75 credit for your first job post. Terms and conditions apply.
Injuries happen. If you twist, pull, pump, or snap something, you need to know about the Sports Institute at TSAOG Orthopedics. From a minor sprain to a compound fracture, TSAOG has got you covered. Not all injuries require surgery. Dr. David Espinosa treats all non-operative orthopedic injuries and concussion baseline testing. Telemedicine services are available through Ortho Connect. If you're hurting, go to the Sports Institute at TSAOG Orthopedics. Online, TSAOG.com. That's TSAOG.com.
This is for the men who never settle. The ones who refuse to let happy hour end without squeezing in one more round. The type of guys who would rather sweat from unspeakable places than stop eating the spiciest wings on the menu. And the men who still chuckle when they order their wings bone in. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
Looking for a late night bite? Service industry employees receive 50% off handhelds and appetizers every day, 10 to close. Some exclusions apply.
Dell Technologies has announced their Cyber Monday sale. They're releasing new doorbusters every weekday, plus up to 50% off cutting-edge tech for your business. There's no better time to upgrade your small business with the latest laptops and desktops with Intel Core processors, plus there's free shipping on everything. Yes, everything. Give Dell Technologies advisors a call. They'll identify the right tech solution for your business. Call 877-ASK-DELL or go to Dell.com/SP Cyber Monday. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
I'm Dr. Stork. Today, better nutrition and stronger immunity are essential. That's why Eggland's Best gives you and your family more. Compared to ordinary eggs, Eggland's Best provides 6 times more vitamin D, 10 times more vitamin E, and 38% more lutein, plus more folate and iodine too. All to help you maintain a strong immune system and better overall health. These are no ordinary times, so why choose an ordinary egg? Only Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
And now another edition of Obvious News from Geico.
Obvious News!
A study says that soft talkers do not make great radio personalities. We asked local librarian Steve Sage about this, and here's what he said.
Honestly, I don't buy it. I think I make very captivating radio.
Also in Obvious News, Geico makes it easy to save money and easy to manage your policy with the Geico app. So switching is a really smart decision. How does Steve feel about this?
I love the Geico app. I use it all the time.
That's Obvious News from Geico.
Obvious News!
Stugatz Year 2020 has created demand for unexpected roles in sports, from plexiglass screen installers to video platform support specialists. Whether you're hiring for similar positions or more familiar ones, there's only one place to go: ZipRecruiter. You can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/Dan. ZipRecruiter's matching technology finds the right people for your job and actively invites them to apply. In fact, 4 to 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try it for free right now at ZipRecruiter.com/Dan.
Welcome aboard. You're on the Blitz. It's y'all's Friday, man. If you have not had the chance to peek outside or roll down the window after pulling out of your parking garage, do so. It's one of those days as a San Antonian that you kind of circle. It is just beautiful out there. After a couple of breezy days, this is perfect weather. I don't know what the exact temperature is, Jason, but you want to talk about a night, 57, you want to talk about a night made for high school football. Jason Minnickson is going to have the call on Churchill Roosevelt tonight. You'll have Big Kev along with you, and it's our last live broadcast at ESPNSA.com as we close out the year. We're going to get into high school football on the other side of this in just a little bit. But the Spurs gathered together for their first full practice, and as we have gotten all week long, we got a couple of the Spurs. Well, we've gone in hierarchy from the two old dudes, and we heard from Patty. And now I guess we're getting to, and Rudy, And now we're getting to the mid-level, and that is DeJounte. He is the oldest of the next. Still a child, a young boy.
But he sounds like a leader already. I mean, you think about who are the team leaders on this team. Is it DeMar? Is it LaMarcus? Some of the old vets we've heard from Rudy. Is it Patty? He might be the emotional, spiritual leader, if you will. But DeJounte sounds like the leader of this basketball team.
The bubble, I mean, it was 8 games. As you guys all know, NBA is a long season. You know, we're capable of, as far as 8 games coming together. And there, like I said, everybody just playing together. You know, everybody touching the ball. You know, you might score 20 tonight, or he might score 10, or he might get 30, whatever. But at the end of the day, we had the same goals in the bubble. Like, you know, it's going to be your night, his night, his night. You know, let's go defend, you know, play together and try to get as many wins and get better. You know, that was the whole point of that, to go get better and try to get a playoff spot. So, you know, adding guys in like LA, you know, we're excited to, you know, have him back, just his presence alone, you know, and, you know, as long as he get on board with us and ready to continue to do what we're doing in the bubble, then I feel like we'll be just fine.
Can you back that up and just give me the part again about LaMarcus Aldridge? This is DeJounte talking about LaMarcus Aldridge.
You know, adding guys in like LA, you know, we're excited to, you know, have him back, just his presence alone, you know, and, you know, as long as he get on board with us and ready to continue to do what we're doing in the bubble, then I feel like we'll be just fine.
Yeah, as long as he's willing to get on with us.
You know, as long as he get on board with us.
Woo!
I like that, man.
LA, you're either with us or the train's leaving, man. You with
like
us?
That.
Yeah.
And I would like to think that LaMarcus would say the very same thing to DeJounte. The exact same expectations are, hey, you're either with us or against us, and this is going to be a fight. We're gonna take a lot of body blows over the next 3 or 4 months. We might as well be in this together. And you know, as DeJounte was talking about, the first thing is to subjugate oneself to the greater good. The first thing is to realize that some nights it ain't gonna be you. And the expectation shouldn't be that every night will be yours. And that, I think, was a pointed talk about LaMarcus. Well, I'm going to say the older guys, as the young boys have worked out together, it seems, a lot, and have talked about this a lot. That, well, you know, Patty calls them the young boys. So I think that I'll go to the senior on this one. I like young dudes, and maybe they would pick that. But Patty talking about his young boys, I do think the leader of that young pack is DeJounte, and he's setting expectations now.
Yeah, he is. And again, I like young dudes as well. I think that's where DeJounte wants to go. He's gone with that. You know, if they're going to have a new nickname, you want it to be cool and marketable. I'm good with that.
Is that? Is young dudes cool and marketable? I don't know. In my day, it was. But.
Well, see, I think it is, especially if you kind of going with what DeMarcus Lawrence did with the Cowboys, the hot boys with Z's at the end. I think it's young dudes with Z's at the end. You can market that. You get chains and everything.
I would, if I was a Spurs fan right this second, I would go and check whatever my streaming or cable provider's relationship is with Fox Sports Southwest. Because if you want to watch your San Antonio Spurs, that will be the only place you're going to find them, apart from the off-network broadcast that we'll get locally. But it ain't no national TV for the San Antonio Spurs, and, you know, certainly not surprising.
Well, no. I mean, you think they might trip into at least having 1-0 of the 49 that were announced today. See, we got the first half of the schedule. They didn't get the full schedule. We got the first half of the schedule. The Spurs are on 0 national TV games, and while that bothers me a little bit, it doesn't bother DeJounte Murray.
I mean, it's fair. We didn't make the playoffs last year, so, you know, we don't deserve to, you know, get that special treatment. You know, I myself, you know, I like to work for everything. So, you know, we gotta make them put us on TV, national TV, you know, and that's taking one game at a time and getting back on the winning side of basketball.
Yeah, the Spurs are the guys that are teeing off about 9 o'clock on Thursday morning. You know, they got to make the cut. We got 36 holes or 49 games to make the cut to see if you actually get some TV time on moving day Saturday.
Yeah.
It's unsurprising, and for that matter, I think as we grow, it'll be kind of this bubble mentality as we all gather around and hear Bill Land and Sean Elliott and us, and we'll only have our opinions of us. I think it's a great way to grow with the team. And then when, because it's always more fun to listen to your own. And this team is going to be so unfamiliar to so many of the other color guys from around the country that it's just going to be better for us. Trust me.
It is, and when they, with the exception of TNT, where you don't get the local broadcast, when Fox is going up against the ESPN types, Bill Land and Sean Elliott just destroy the ratings there because Spurs fans would rather hear them. So, I don't think that factored in, but it certainly does make sense. Now, we did mention the schedule is out. We are kind of bearing a little bit of the lead in the sense of. A lot of people are wondering, are we able to go to the games? Are we going to? R.C. Buford spoke today, and R.C. said that the plan is to have fans in the stands at some capacity by January 1, depending on what things are like in a couple of weeks. So when the season starts December 23rd, they're on the road at Memphis. The first home game is against Toronto. Then they go down to New Orleans. Then they get the Lakers. Think about this for you New Year's types. LeBron is spending New Year's Eve in San Antonio. The Lakers are going to be playing in San Antonio on Wednesday the 30th, and then on Friday, January 1st. Back-to-back home games, and that's part of what the NBA is doing to try to get games in. So you could look at this two ways. Either LeBron's going to spend New Year's in San Antonio, or as he eases into this season, he ain't coming at all, which could give the Spurs a couple of wins over the mighty Lakers very early on. But if they're going to try to put fans in the stands on January 1, the first game that could have Spurs fans in it is Spurs-Lakers.
What a coinky-dink. Let's just look at this as a worthy target. That's how I think that's a fine plan. Well, let's plan for that day, and let's just see what happens.
When I look at the first half of the schedule, they've got their games with the Lakers, I think, are pretty much all going to be done before by the 5th of January or 7th of January. They go out to L.A. They'll play the Clippers on the 5th and the Lakers on the 7th. So, again, if LeBron is easing into the season, Spurs get the Lakers 3 times very early. A couple of early games with Houston at home in the middle of January. And even though the rodeo isn't going to be at the AT&T Center this year, Spurs still have a rodeo road trip for some damn reason. I don't understand it.
Well, I guess they had already cleared the path for them to have the rodeo road trip. It was hard to change some of the schedule that was already in place.
They got 7 games from the 14th through the 24th, all on the road. The Atlanta, Charlotte, Detroit, Cleveland, New York, Indiana, and Oklahoma City for their rodeo road trip with no rodeo in the AT&T Center.
Well, at least it's not those distant east to west kind of rodeo road trip.
True.
Now, the last couple of years it seemed pointless, that there really wasn't a whole lot to be gained from the rodeo road trip. This year, maybe it'll fall back to what was. A second training camp as it was couldn't hurt a young team like this, especially with the possibility of a stretch run and a play-in tournament, because you expect this team will be leaps and bounds better by the time we get to late March and early April than we will see here next Saturday night when the Spurs get things going. But, the good news is they gathered together. They did get their practice in, and as of yet, no positive COVID tests. So every day of practice with his Spurs guys is vital. Knowing full well that Keldon, we don't expect to see him till the very beginning of the season. Quinndari's in the kind of the same boat as well. And LaMarcus really hasn't been, we haven't been told he's going to be completely available. We know he's working out. So they need every day of practice as quick as possible. You want to talk to Jay Glazer?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. I have a feeling he's going to be calling quite soon. Jay Glazer, your Fox NFL insider analyst, and really a great guy. He's a part of what's called the MVP organization. It helps veterans get kind of their lives back together. The stories are remarkable, and that has grown into an effort to combine that with his athletic context into what has become a remarkable project that he has got a program together to kind of fund that. And we're going to hear from Jay Glazer talk about the NFL next, so you want to hang on. You're on the Blitz, 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM. We're your home for the holidays.
While much of our attention has been focused on the chaos this year, I want you to remember something that's vitally important. You and your family. Jason Minnick's here for Pax Financial Group. At Pax Financial Group, they know you have goals and dreams. Even if the world feels out of control, remember you're in charge of your life. to create a life of meaning. You need a plan. At Pax Financial Group, they can help you create your personalized financial roadmap. No matter your age or how close you are to retirement, you need a plan to make sure you don't run out of money. At Pax Financial Group, they know you want to be financially prepared. In order to do that, you need trusted guidance. At Pax, they have the experience and tools to crunch your retirement numbers and get the answers you need. So go to PaxFinancialGroup.com. Click on the Schedule Now button, and you can book a phone conversation with one of their experienced advisors at no charge. Live a more fulfilling life. Start by going to PaxFinancialGroup.com. PaxFinancialGroup.com.
No Justin Bieber bump music here. Stop it! Knock it off! San Antonio sports leader. 1250 ESPN San Antonio and 94.5 FM. All day, every day.
Sports Center is brought to you by Kielbasa Slow Crafted Sausage. Available at your local grocery stores.
Hurt in an accident and dealing with a wrecked car? Thomas J. Henry will help you get a rental car while we work on your case. Start your claim today at tjhlaw.com/radio. That's tjhlaw.com/radio. San Antonio, Texas.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Looking for the perfect present? Then head to the perfect place. Stop by your neighborhood Ace and find the best gifts from brands like Steel, Eagle, and Milwaukee, or Traeger, Weber, and Yeti. And to help make sure your gifts are under your tree on time, you can shop in-store, online, or on the Ace app. Pick up in-store, curbside, or get them delivered. Get amazing deals on the best gifts when you wrap it in red at Ace at participating stores.
Money hooray, money hooray, money for the holidays. Oh, what fun it could be with money for the holidays. Need money for the holidays? Jackson Hewitt could help. Starting December 17th, come in and ask a Jackson Hewitt Tax Pro how you could get up to $700 fast with an early refund advance 0% APR loan by MetaBank. All you need to get started is a pay stub or other proof of income. Learn how at jacksonhewitt.com. Terms apply.
When the weather outside is frightful, the Hyundai Santa Fe is, delightful. Because it's got available H-Track all-wheel drive to make being out together better. Enter for your chance to win the newly redesigned Santa Fe, packed with all the jingle bells and whistles you need to go dashing through the snow together. To enter, visit Amazon.com/Hyundai or scan the QR code on specially marked red and green Amazon boxes. Call 562-314-4603 for complete details.
We're the Aggies, official sponsor of the college football playoff, and we're here to say it's smooth, like a metro refreshing. We'll trade a tailgates, buy some now. DOSCQUIS, those Aggies, that's healthier.
For your next tailgate here in San Antonio, grab some ice-cold Dos Equis. Enjoy Dos Equis responsibly. Imported by Cervezas Mexicanas, White Plains, New York. Copyright 2020.
Listen to this radio station on the radio.com app. Discover and enjoy your favorite music, news, and talk radio from live stations across the country. Listen anywhere on all mobile and home devices with the radio.com app.
For the one standing guard. For the eagle-eyed. For the knights in shining armor. And for all those who support them. We are Granger, your experienced safety partner, offering supplies and solutions for every industry, committed to helping keep your facilities safe and your people safer. Call, click Granger.com/safety, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
The great thing about facts, they're proven. Like the fact that crude oil contains impurities, or that base oil made from natural gas is 99.5% free of impurities. And the fact that Pennzoil is the first synthetic motor oil made from natural gas, not crude oil. It gives you unbeatable engine protection. The proof is in the Pennzoil. Based on Sequence 4A wear test using SAE 5W30. Available at AutoZone and AutoZone.com.
It is the Blitz here on 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM on the go at ESPNSA.com. We're your home for the holidays, and we'd like to welcome in Jay Glazer, Fox Sports NFL insider and all-around jacked guy. Jay Glazer, welcome aboard, man. How's your day going?
Doing great, man. How you guys doing?
We are doing well. Appreciate you taking the time as we get ready for an NFL weekend coming up Sunday in what has been a bizarre NFL season, especially this is Cowboys country. They were supposed to play last night. Now they'll play Tuesday afternoon. Overall, how impressed are you that the NFL has been able to pull this off to this point?
Look, we all knew going into the season it was going to be fluid. You never knew what was going to happen, especially look, I remember talking to different head coaches before the year. We have 100 different stories that go home every day. They all go home, they leave here, and you never know. Like there's been people who their wives are teachers and they go to school and, they're obviously at risk and they come back and they can give it to you, or their kids go to school and they can come back. There's 100 different stories every time you leave the facility. I'm actually shocked it's been, we've gotten through every game. I'm shocked it's been contained as much as it is. The one real issue we had was the Ravens, where you had one coach in there who was an anti-masker and didn't believe in it and put his tracker away, and he screwed the rest of the facility by not following the rules. If you work at a company like you guys where you work, there are rules. You got to follow rules. You may not agree with them, but you got to follow those rules. And in this case, when you don't follow the rules, it puts people in danger. And if you're just smart about it and you follow the rules, then we can get through this whole season. And just for the escapism part of it, I do think we need it. I think we need, and people are looking, there's real stuff happening out there. I get that. And that's why I do think it is still, I don't want to just sit home all day and watch the grim news of, what's going on and how divided this country is. I want some escapism.
Jay Glazer, a Fox Sports NFL insider, right here on the Blitz. Jay, talking about the situation that we're all in right now, is it reasonable to expect that there are going to be cancellations coming? Is it a ridiculous proposition to think what we're headed into and what we're seeing outside of the stadiums and the individual team headquarters, that the idea of completing this season seems almost impossible? And with that in mind, cancellations certainly might be a part of this. Is that something that can even be discussed, or is Goodell and the NFL going to fight this until they absolutely have to cancel a game?
Well, it's already been discussed, because what they did a couple of weeks ago is they went to the owners and they proposed a new playoff system where if any games have to be canceled, then you would add playoff teams. There'd be 16, and they changed the seeding. So the one seed wouldn't automatically get a bye. All of a sudden, the one seed would now have to play, and you would also, like right now, the first through 4 seeds are the division winners. But if the game's canceled, that won't happen either. They're going to actually truly seed them to 1 through 8, and that's how you'll end up getting. That's what the adjustments will be. So if you win the NFC East, you have the worst record. You won't get the 4 seed. You'll get the 8 seed going in. So so they're planning just in case. And even the 49ers had to move, and the league had a feeling that was going to happen. So they've actually been working on that for the last month. So there's more that they're working on behind the scenes. But then, as things happen, they are kind of rolling with it. And it's like, hey, we're, like today they changed the rules on how many people come on the road with them because they realized, man, we're putting a 62-man limit. And as a result of that, the people who are staying home, they're now gathering with people, and who knows what they're doing and who knows where they're going out. So, let's figure out a way to still take them on the road so they have to get tested every day. And so it's just fluid.
It is very fluid. It's kind of like deciding who is the best team in the NFC. So, Jay Glazer, I'll ask you, who is the best team in the NFC as we sit today?
I'd probably say the Saints. The Saints, the Seahawks, and then, when the Rams quarterback is on, they're probably the team you don't want to play. And the Saints defense is just vicious. And with Taysom Hill, but last week, Sean Payton, I talked to him before the game, he's like, we're going to call such a conservative game plan because, the only way Denver's going to be able to beat us because they got a receiver playing the quarterback is if their defense beats us. So we're going to be really conservative. And then people are up in arms at how few passing yards that Taysom Hill had was that was actually the plan going in. So, I think, defensively wise, the Rams and the Saints went up on their game. They're just vicious. But offensively, now that Seattle gets Josh Gordon back and their running backs are coming back, they can outscore anybody.
Jay Glazer, your Fox Sports NFL insider, joining us here on the Blitz as we look at the NFL. Now, it looks like the Saints certainly have a hole there. We saw what Seattle did as well. And then, of course, Aaron Rodgers being Aaron again. Who is second behind the Saints in your eyes in the NFC?
No, that's what I was saying. I think right now it's Seattle. Because their defense started to play a little bit better. They're starting to generate a pass rush. But also, they've been without their top 4 running backs. So now they're starting to get guys back, and I think Seattle will be that second team. But the Rams are like, man, they're two different teams. When Jared Goff makes a bunch of mental mistakes, and they're going to lose to a team like the Dolphins, even though they outgain them in a number of yards. But when Jared Goff is on, like he was a couple Monday nights ago against Tampa, then man, they could beat anybody in that conference.
Jay Glazer with us here on ESPN San Antonio. Obviously, you see him on Fox as the NFL insider. The work you do outside of TV with MVP, working with guys like Alden Smith of the Dallas Cowboys, and you were so integral at getting him back to the NFL, back to the Cowboys. We all saw the feature on Thanksgiving. I mean, when you think about where Alden is today, where he was, at the beginning of the season when the Cowboys signed him, to where he was, a year ago when you first started working with them, talk about the progression of Alden and how he is handling this NFL season.
The first time I originally worked with Alden as part of our Emerging Veteran Players Foundation, which is, I'm here to talk about our GNC line, which is going to help, that's our mission to help build up more locations for MVP, which is where we take former combat vets who, new team when the transition, the uniform comes off, and we're merging them together with first it was NFL players, but now it's ex-fighters, which, I'm from the fight game, and ex-athletes of all different types. And we're merging them together to give them a new team again. And we work out together for about a half hour just to give you a burn. But after, we sit around and we have a mental health huddle. And there's like 80 of us together, and we're opening up. And, Alden was there as an ex-NFL player. And then one day, man, about a month and a half in, he raised his hand. He says, "Hey, guys, I'm Alden Smith. You guys may know me. And, at one point I was one of the best players in the NFL, and then I screwed it all up because I didn't feel worthy of being loved. And I didn't like who Alden Smith was. And until I met you guys and gals and talking about our vets, it's the first time I've really liked Alden Smith." And I was like, whoa. And I said to him after, I said, "So, you told me a little bit about why you're not in the NFL. Why are you not in the NFL?" And he's like, "It's my fault." I was like deflecting. "It's my fault I'm not in the NFL. I'm the one who screwed it up." And right then and there, I said, "Well, you want a chance to the NFL again?" And he's like, "Come on, man. I've been out of the league for 5 years." I was like, "Dude, let me handle that." So we're going to train you up. I got a lot of relationships in this league. I've done a lot of things in the past. Let's just walk this walk together. As long as you can help other people with this. He goes, "Jay, you know how many people I can help with my story? Like if you could actually get this to happen, I can help so many people." And that's when we decided to take this journey together. And man, we coached him up, got him up to 287 of solid muscle. But the bigger part was he started talking to our veterans about sobriety. He started doing welfare checks on our vets. He started pulling guys up out of holes. It was, it was beautiful. And when we finally got him with the Cowboys, because there was a lot. I had to help him get an agent. We got him Ron Slavin down there in Dallas. I talked to the commissioner for him and other people up there. Our veterans talked to the commissioner on his behalf. And like we have our MVP sessions, they're on Zoom right now, obviously because of the pandemic. Roger came on. And we had about 80 people in there, and they started going to bat for Alden about what he's done for them and how he's helped their sobriety. And it was that week that Roger reinstated him based on the word of our vets. And, when we got him signed back with Dallas, he actually called me and he said, "Is your son there?" And I said, "Yeah, my son's Sammy." And he said, "I'm coming over. I want to sign this contract in front of him because I want him to see what his dad did."
Wow. Jay Glaze.
Man, that's pretty special.
Jay Glazer joining us here on the Blitz. MVP is the organization that brought Alden Smith back. Unbreakable Performance is the product that Jay has in GNCs right now, and portions are going to be to benefit the MVP up to $100,000 of contributions through the month of December is committed by GNC. The product itself, Jay, you're known as a guy who's always in shape. How much of a role did you play in the getting Unbreakable Performance off the ground and in GNC, and how much will it help MVP?
Oh, fully. I mean, it's, I've been having meetings with GNC for this. For Unbreakable, I figured out a long time ago, man, if the healthier we are, the more we could smash somebody, whether it's a fighter or it's a football player. So we got to the recovery end of it really early on. So as you come in to Unbreakable, which is like our gym's ridiculous. It's like the Oscars and the Super Bowl meeting up together at one every single day. And you can come in there one day and, man, your workout group, and we all train together. It'll be you and Wiz Khalifa and Demi Lovato and Chris Pratt and Sylvester Stallone, and then this business leader and this doctor and this single mom and this amputee Marine door gunner and this Navy SEAL. It's the craziest thing you ever saw. But as you come in, we hand you a pre-workout drink. Halfway through your workout, we hand you amino acids. At the end of your workout, we give you protein that's tailored to you. So I've always believed in, we talk about building you up from the inside out, and that's with obviously the nutrition end of it, but also the mental health end of it, and that's where we all tie together.
And it's available at GNC, which is incredible. Jay Glazer with us here on ESPN San Antonio, all the incredible stuff that you're involved in. It's the Unbreakable Performance products, just another line to it. Before we let you go, Jay.
Real quick. I just want to say this real quick. This is so important to me. Is our MVP Foundation, man. We're in 5 locations, 5 years. The majority of our MVPers, before we met them, had attempted suicide. And since meeting us and giving them a team again, because when you lose your tribe, that's the scary part. Since giving them a team again, the number of suicides we've had amongst our MVPers is 0. Not a single one. And the majority tried before meeting us. And that's why this line is so damn important to me.
Important to us. Incredible stat, incredible story.
Yeah.
Jay Glazer here on ESPN San Antonio. All of it's incredible. I'm very good friends with Ryan Leaf. I know what you've done for him, and he just celebrated 6 years of walking out of prison. You look at it, all of this is incredible, but, it all starts with football in the NFL, and this is Cowboy country. Our fans, pissed off at the way the Cowboy season is going under first-year head coach Mike McCarthy, who we visit with. We get to interview him every week here on the Blitz. And you're friends with Mike McCarthy. How do you think he has handled his first year working for Jerry Jones?
I went down there in the beginning, and I remember talking to them, saying, guys, you can't build a culture in 3 weeks. And that's what I thought going in this year. The Mike Tomlins and Pete Carrolls and Sean Payton would be the ones who do the best because they've been together. They have their culture. So you can't build a culture in 3 weeks, especially when you're trying to completely redo a culture here in Dallas. And it's just not going to work that way. Now, add that to the number of injuries they have, which I don't think I've ever seen anything like this in my life before. The number of injuries they've had, it's like, oh my God. So now it's hard to build a culture, and then you don't have the players to build the culture with. But I think he's never panicked. He's always been steady in there. I think he's explained to the Joneses what's exactly going on. But like I said, I've never seen anything like it.
Jay, I'm curious about your perspective about Coach McCarthy. What is it about him that makes him available and able to overcome the situation that he was thrust in?
He's a grunt, and I say that in a good way. Like he's a grunt. He's a football dude, and I think they needed that. They needed a guy who's just football, because the Joneses are business football, right? They needed somebody to kind of offset that, and they haven't had a grunt in there in a long time, and I think that's why he actually is crazy as I know what's going on there. They need a guy like that to eventually stable him out. I know it's not going to happen this year. But it's about building a certain culture in that place that feels like it's more football than business.
MVP is the organization. Jay Glazer, the NFL analyst, the Fox Insider, there joining us here on ESPN San Antonio. Jay, we're coming to you from San Antonio, Texas, Military City, USA, and your efforts on behalf of the many veterans across our country is something worthy of great praise and recognition, and we certainly do honor you and for all you're doing for the MVP. Thank you so much for that, and also, getting guys back off the streets. It means a lot to us down here. Thanks for joining us today, Jay.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Jay Glazer right here on ESPN San Antonio. He's on the other side of the fence as far as things go, but, a good dude that's doing good work well off. And it's very rare that guys are as genuine off the air as they are on the air. And Jay Glazer is the same guy no matter where you see him, at a club in Vegas or, standing next to the next big bomb that he will drop.
It really is. I mean, he's just an incredible dude, both on the field and off. And what he said there about Mike McCarthy, I think we need to get into that a little bit more. Exactly.
He's a grunt, man.
He's a grunt.
Let's talk about that. I think that perspective is unique. The attitude that Mike McCarthy has brought to this team in the pandemic has been unique. He's a grunt. We'll talk about that effect coming up next. You're on the Blitz, 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM. We're your home for the holidays.
You think about the weather that we're having tonight, this weekend. It's going to be spectacular. You're going to go fire up the grill. And if you're going to fire up the grill, you want the best meat on it. The best meat is at Tri-County Meat Market. Locally owned and full service, Tri-County has carefully selected certified prime Angus beef cuts, Wagyu, upper choice. They have everything you need to up your grilling game.
Beef, chicken, pork, your fajitas, your hors d'oeuvres, your everything you need from beginning of the meal through all week, the 5 for $25. Go check out that side of the store. You can stock your pantry and your fridge for everything you need. It's one of the best deals you're going to find in San Antonio. You want to talk about deals. How about $16.99 a pound tomahawks? You want to look like a true chef? You want to upload a picture and win $50? So our last week winner did with a tomahawk. Do the very same, $16.99 a pound. T-bones, $12.99 a pound. And they are taking orders for their special cut prime rib and tenderloins at both locations. They did the turkeys for Thanksgiving, and they're bringing you the beef for Christmas. So get your orders in quick, because this is the best of the best kind of meat. And if you're a first responder, how about a 10% discount whenever you attend? And that goes for your military, your police, your firemen, of course, your EMTs. Tri-County has 2 great locations. Ralph Fair Road over on Heavener. Go check them out online, tricountymeat.com.
Dallas Cowboys football is on ESPN San Antonio and 102.7 Jack FM.
Zeke Elliott walked all the dogs.
Brought to you by AA Best Bail Bonds, New Brakes Mobile Brake Repair, Alamo Water Softeners, Ewald Kubota, The Rupa, and the Angry Elephant.
When you need an electrician, Hill Electric is available 24/7 for residential and commercial needs. If you're having to rework your office, let Hill Electric design your socially distanced space to ensure each workstation has the proper electrical needs. For over 35 years, the family-owned Hill Electric has served San Antonio. There is never a service charge and always free estimates. Call Hill Electric at 210-404-9074. That's 404-9074. Or go to hill-electric.com.
You love Southern Recipe small batches, bold pork rind flavors. Whether it's their spicy dill, Korean kimchi barbecue, or pasilla chili cheese, they've got the keto-friendly protein-packed snack that crushes all others. Want to win $5,000 plus Southern Recipe small batch pork rinds for a whole year? Enter at porkrinds.com right now. Porkrinds.com. Plus, you'll have a chance to win a one-on-one conversation with a Pro Football Hall of Famer. And while you're at HEB, grab a bag of Southern Recipe small batch pork rinds.
An unprecedented year like 2020 calls for an unprecedented holiday offer from Diamonds Direct. So, for the first time ever during December, we're allowing 4 years zero-interest financing on anything and everything. It's our way of helping you make her holiday one to remember. Just pick any beautiful piece of jewelry, take the price, divide by 48, and that's your payment. A $4,000 pair of diamond stud earrings is just $84 a month. And we have the gifts women love. Rings, earrings, bracelets, bands, colored gemstones, all new fashion jewelry from top designers. And of course, the largest selection of engagement rings and certified diamonds in the country. After all she's been through in 2020, now's the perfect time to let her know how much you love her. Reward her with a gift that is romantic, timeless, and symbolic. And with 48-month zero-interest financing, you can afford to splurge. Diamonds Direct, helping you make that magical moment this holiday season. Shop online at diamondsdirect.com or in person in our showroom. Diamonds Direct.
At the shops at La Cantera.
Remember being in your favorite sport clips getting set for that great MVP haircut experience? Yeah, how about if we made that wait even shorter? Now, with Sport Clips On Deck text alerts, when you check in online or with our app, we'll text you a 15-minute heads up when it's time to head in. And when you're the next man up, you'll get another text to come take your seat. Less wait time, more prime time. Sport Clips. It's good to be a guy.
College football, it's the game you wake up early on Saturdays for, even though kickoff isn't until 7. The game where the Goodyear blimp becomes a Hall of Famer. The game that goes just beyond school, spirit, fandom, or love of the sport. It's the game where the comebacks happen. It's the game where anything can and will happen, as long as you have the drive. Because college football is the game that moves you. We get it because it moves us too. Goodyear, more driven.
Let's get wild.
He's a grunt, and I said that in a good way. Like, he's a grunt. He's a football dude, and I think they needed that. They needed a guy who's just football, because the Joneses are business football, right? They needed somebody to kind of offset that, and they haven't had a grunt in there in a long time, and I think that's why he actually is crazy as. I know what's going on there. They need a guy like that to eventually stable him out. I know it's not going to happen this year, but it's about building a certain culture in that place that feels like it's more football than business.
That was Jay Glazer. You heard it just a few minutes ago as you're on the Blitz here on 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM. I want to thank Jay for stopping by. But I find that interesting. A grunt over money. That it was business and football for many, many years, and the refocusing the organization wasn't going to be easy, but in combination, it was even more difficult. But a grunt, in Jay's eyes, was required.
Football, and we know, Mike McCarthy gets there at dark 30 in the morning, and he doesn't go home until way late at night. And it's interesting the way football business for the Joneses, but what was that really a shot at the culture that Jason Garrett had in place for 10 years, and you're not going to change that in 3 weeks, is, what Jay Glazer said. Jason Garrett sounded like, as I interpret that, mirrored the culture that Jerry Jones has, and that's not what they need for a championship football team.
Yeah, it's tough in this situation. Jason Garrett had been it felt like a yes man for so long that for there to be any kind of ripple in the force that is the Cowboys was going to be significant no matter what. And then we know what Garrett was apart and away from the camera. He wasn't milquetoast by any stretch of the imagination. But there was a certain deference, it always felt like, to Mr. Jones. You know what I mean? It always felt like that's how he managed to stay alive for so long, and kudos to him. I mean, who else could have survived that for that long? But McCarthy just has that different wave that I do think in these days when you have to tell guys you got to wear a mask, you got to protect yourself, or this will happen, I think it might be that much more important to have a grunt there. But the jury's still out. I think he bought himself a lot of time. I like him. I feel like he is the right guy, but there's still a lot of things in play here. We'll see what he can do with a first-round draft pick, a high draft pick, and a full training camp before the decision should be made.
High draft pick, the key there.
Yes, absolutely.
Don't go win games and screw that up now, Mike McCarthy.
What do you mean,
Andrew
a division
Monaco,
title under his belt?
It could happen, man. 6 wins. Andrew Monaco joins us at 5:15, but before we do get there, we need to have a talk. And the Edinburgh situation is just horrific, and it paints that picture of Texas football and all of its negative light. If you haven't seen the video, just open up a social media page. You'll see it pretty quick. But an Edinburgh football player took out a referee last night in a violent rage, the likes of which I have never seen. He's been charged with a Class A misdemeanor assault, and the ramifications are still in play, I think. Edinburgh immediately pulled the high school out of the playoffs, but we're hearing rumors of great anger down there. Let's talk about it next. Your calls included the Edinburgh football player assaulting a referee. Here we go again. It'll happen next here on the Blitz, 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, your home for the holidays.
Injuries happen. If you twist, pull, pop, or snap something, you need to know about the Sports Institute at TSAOG Orthopedics. From a minor minor sprain to a compound fracture, TSAOG has got you covered. Not all injuries require surgery. Dr. David Espinosa treats all non-operative orthopedic injuries and concussion baseline testing. Telemedicine services are available through Ortho Connect. If you're hurting, go to the Sports Institute at TSAOG Orthopedics. Online, TSAOG.com. That's TSAOG.com.
Mary's Bistro delivery business is bustling and ready to burst.
Orders 34, 35, and 36 are up. Who's handling these? Hello, Mary's Bistro, now delivering.
It's time to hire.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. The moment you sponsor a job on Indeed, you get a short list of quality candidates from our resume database. Indeed delivers 2.5 times more hires than the other branded job sites combined, according to Breezy HR 2019. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get a $75 credit for your first job post. Terms and conditions apply.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who believe only quitters end a game in a tie, the type of guys who choose the bar with the biggest TVs to overcompensate for theirs at home. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
The San Antonio Express News gives you access to the city, access to be in the know, access to be amazed, access to be better citizens, access creativity. The San Antonio Express News. Express your relief. Express your voice. San Antonio, be the first to know with the San Antonio Express News. Subscribe today at expressnews.com/subscribe. Get access with the San Antonio Express News by subscribing today at expressnews.com/subscribe.
Stugatz here. This past season, technology took sports viewership to the next level. When it comes to hiring, there's one solution that's been advancing its technology for years, ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/Dan. ZipRecruiter's technology identifies people with the right experience and invites them to apply to your job. No wonder 4 to 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/Dan. That's ZipRecruiter.com/Dan.
The holidays and driving go hand in hand, but cold weather and batteries don't. Make sure your vehicle's battery is winter ready with free testing at Advance Auto Parts. If it needs to be replaced, we have Die-Hard batteries that are reliable, durable, and powerful enough to get you through every road trip. Plus, we'll even install it free with purchase, no appointment necessary. Advance your auto at Advance Auto Parts and participating CarQuest locations. Most vehicles, most locations. See store for details.
Hi, this is Zach Martin.
For everything Cowboys.
Lock the door! San Antonio sports leader, 1250 ESPN San Antonio, and 94.5 FM.
Where the pros play. KCDC San Antonio. Jason Minix, Rob Thompson, the Blitz.
It is the Blitz here on 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM. On the go at ESPNSA.com. That's where we broadcast live. And if you would like to watch us go there, it is 5 o'clock. You made it through the week. The busiest and longest week of the year for a lot of the people that are trying to find a way to manufacture enthusiasm for anything at work. This is the loaf-off month, right?
Wait, it's only Tuesday, right?
We had football and college basketball on Wednesday, so this would be Sunday, right? Because yesterday, well, maybe Saturday. I don't know what day it is, but it's Friday in everybody's world. Congratulations, you made it. This hour, we got a lot to get into, and Andrew Monaco is going to join us at 5:15. We'll offer your scenic views, what's going on in the college football and professional world, and a game spread all the way till Tuesday and next week. And then we're going to be joined by a legend, Gary DeLon. Is broadcasting the end of a regular season, the likes of which we might not see again. Gary DeLon's going to join us about 5:45. We'll get a chance to talk to a San Antonio legend who might be ending an era in the very near future. So you want to hang on tight. But let's get into the news of the day. Texas high school football front and center across the country as the YouTube video of the football game that involved Edinburgh last night started popping. I don't know, it was about 10 o'clock we started seeing this happen everywhere. A football player charges onto the field and just levels a referee after being penalized twice in one play for unnecessary roughness. He was thrown off the game and got mad and charged and took a referee out in Technicolor, man. We got to see it front and center in a variety of angles. And Jason, James and I have talked about previous incidents from Jay. This was as heinous as you could possibly get in my eyes.
they're all bad. And, it was reminiscent just because, you go back to the Jay situation, a game in Marble Falls, apparently a coach was involved and, had two players attack a ref during an actual play. We're taking them out during a play. This was a kid who had been thrown out, escorted off, which is why there was coaches by him. Hey, man, you got to leave the sidelines. And he, didn't like what was going on, obviously, not happy. Kid's pissed off, and as the referee made the announcement and said he was tossed, he just charged him like a bull. I've never seen anything like it, and then, it was just such a bizarre feeling because you see that and you go, well, that's assault. That kid's going to jail.
No
I mean,
question.
everything that we have seen in the past, that is assault. And, good news is that I think the referee is okay. He was checked out when they brought a card out following the reporter as it was happening from the McAllen newspaper, like, here comes the card. It's just bizarre. But then the photos, the kids being escorted off by cops, but they don't put them in handcuffs. And apparently didn't actually arrest them or charge them until this morning. I'm not sure any of them knew exactly what they needed to do other than this ain't good. This can't happen again. Are there going to be charges filed? And there were this morning.
So the next step from the Edinburgh ISD was to pull the entire team out of the playoffs. It seems a little overdone. I don't know how to, certainly I'm glad I'm not in that situation to have to make the decision, but the ramifications of one shouldn't affect all the others. They certainly had no role in this, and it goes beyond the football team. It goes to the band. It goes to everybody. This could have been their last game. I have a feeling that there needs to be a readdressing of the punishment of the entire team instead of the act of one bad actor.
What do you guys think? 656 ESPN, 656-3776 on the Kia Bossa Bacon phone lines. I do know that some of the seniors on that Edinburgh football team are apparently trying to protest the city and the school district to to reverse that decision to let them go play in their playoff game because, like you said, they had nothing to do with this, yet they are getting punished. But it is the ultimate team sport, and, maybe that's what the Edinburgh officials were thinking when they decided to pull the team out of the playoffs. Last night was a win-and-you're-in playoff game. This incident happened in the second quarter, and Edinburgh was able to gather themselves on the field and win what was a pretty good football game. And, so those seniors especially, they don't want their season to be over because of this, going through all of this. I don't know if they'll change their mind. I don't know what the right thing is to do. When I saw that, I was a little surprised that they punished the entire team, but it is the ultimate team sport. But I looked at the way those players reacted. They were surprised and trying to stop their teammate from continuing to do something stupid.
I'm reading an article off of the Monitor, which is the local newspaper down there. The byline is by Andrew McHargue. Evidently, he has a history of this. That last year on the soccer team, that's a big old soccer player, he was suspended for the rest of the season for an incident that was described as much akin to this. Maybe that is the reason why it might be something that the coaches need to be. This is the fog of war. I can't understand why they would do this. And certainly the Edinburgh name is going to be smeared across the country for the next, 15 minutes, as this is going to be the topic du jour for a while until the next crazy thing happens. But it feels rather abrupt and brash or rash as a decision. But this is where we sit. So what should happen to this guy? He goes to jail, right? I mean, that was he's 18. He's an adult in the eyes of the law, and that was an assault. There should be nothing less, right?
It was an assault. The complete lack of respect for an authority figure in the referee certainly comes into play. I go back to Tony Lamone in 1999 here in San Antonio. Tony was a South San player and on a basketball court punched Brent Holmes. South San against East Central. Lamone ultimately was charged and sentenced to 5 years in prison.
Well, there is a caveat to this, though. There was a caveat to this. He was not unfamiliar with the law. Now, I don't know Mr. Duran's history, but I do know that he, the kid from South San, was had dealt with the police for some other issues.
Yeah, and again, I mean, Lamone was there was other factors there. This kid, if he's been thrown out of other games before, you're 18, you're charging with assault. I'm not. I don't know what the
how
minimum
much
or
responsibility do the coaches
is.
bear? How much responsibility do you view the coaches and the staff for? I'm watching the replay right now on ESPN for not, being in a position to stop this. They were close, and I know he bolted, but he had a history of this. If this is the case, allegedly,
I don't
how much
know
at fault
that,
do you find the school?
None, quite honestly. I mean, if his actions weren't to the point where he was still allowed on the football team, it's one thing to lose your cool in the middle of a play. I mean, that we see that at every level. I don't know that any coach could have predicted he's going to get tossed out and go try to take out the referee. I don't know that of all the things the coaches planned for, that it isn't it. Does he get into a fight with another offensive lineman and you got your other players there that can help break that up? You might have anticipated that. But once he was off the field, I think most coaches at that point, he's walking off the field while the ref is making the announcement to the crowd on the microphone, and then he leaves the sideline and goes back to the field to go get him. I think most probably thought once he got to the sideline, while he's still pissed off, he ain't running back out onto the field.
Right.
You're probably thinking he can't be that stupid to make a decision like that and charge all the way back to where he was. And, unfortunately, as you watch the video, the coach, I don't know if it was the head coach or the assistant coach or whoever it was, but the guy that was standing by him that clearly wasn't a player, somebody on that coaching staff, that was probably going to escort him back to the locker room, just clearly didn't have the speed or strength to keep up with him once he bolted to go towards the middle of the field to attack the referee. I don't know the coach there at Edinburgh, but I don't think I can hold him responsible for seeing something like that.
So if the coaches weren't responsible, unless, of course, not assigning the slowest coach on the staff to protect the referee from a wild-eyed player, if the coaches weren't at fault, well, obviously they weren't. And do you believe that his fellow players played any role in this? It looked like they were trying to stop him, too.
They were trying to stop him. I think this was an 18-year-old poor decision. And it's all on him. He's 18. He gets all the responsibility here. What could you have done differently? The clips that we've seen on social media and YouTube and whatever, we see him, clearly ejected from the game. He walks to the sideline. Most kids get to the sideline, they go to the locker room. I don't think a coach generally has in his plan, if he bolts for the middle of the field, this is what we do. You look at the stunned looks and reactions for the players on both teams. Like, what the hell is going on here? This is all on that kid. This is his decision. I don't hold anybody else accountable for what he clearly did on his own. This wasn't, in the middle of a play where you could tell that it was orchestrated between him and another player, one of his teammates. It wasn't any of that. Now, you go back to his history and getting flags like that, anger management issues, should he have been out there? I'm not going to say he should have or shouldn't have. I don't know it well enough there, but this was all on that 18-year-old kid, and it certainly looked like to me everybody on both teams was trying to do everything they could to stop and get him under control, and he's going to face criminal. His life just changed in a split second.
I'm watching our Facebook feed as you're free to comment there, as you're free to reach out to us on the Kielbasa Bacon phone line, 656-3776, 656-ESPN at our Twitter feed, at Jason Venix, at Rob Thompson, ESPN at I Am Pledger. We had a high school referee pop on real quick and say, I've been verbally assaulted 100 times. And the idea behind that thought is really, I think, where we need to go with this conversation, it is endemic. This is the outcome of the way that parents act. When the kids see this their entire lives, of course the kid's going to lose his mind on a referee. He's seen his parents and his friends' parents and everybody else lose their minds. So to ask an 18-year-old brain or a 17-year-old brain to do anything other is ridiculous. This wasn't a symptom This was the pain. This was the pain of what's been caused. We're going to talk a lot about it, but we want to talk Aggie football as Andrew Monaco is scheduled for his weekly. Aggie's getting ready for Auburn, those Tiger War Eagles or War Tiger Eagles or whatever the hell they are. An important game for the Aggies. We'll talk with Andrew Monaco next. You're on the Blitz, 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, and on the go at ESPNSA.com. You know, as the weekend spreads before us, the scenic views are all around us. You head over to Twin Peaks this week, and everything you want to watch in the sporting world is going to be on TV, from UFC to high school too. I'm sure it'll be there. College and NFL as well, and you got all the college basketball you can stand as the season has begun anew. Twin Peaks has 3 great locations around San Antonio, open and clean and ready for you. 151 and 410 Days of All on I-10, as I say, my home field, and the Loopland over there in Park North location. You know, Prohibition Week is being celebrated by them that benefit the most, and Twin Peaks certainly does. Go and celebrate the brought back alcohol days of those early 30s and celebrate with Twin Peaks as you're watching all those fine games and 360-degree panorama view of all those TVs. You know, the great thing about Twin Peaks is when you sit down, no matter where you are in the place, you're in a man cave. Let's describe what a man cave is. Great views all around you. Yep, the TVs are there. Food brought to you by the most beautiful servers you can possibly find of the highest quality. That's a man cave, right? Well, you get that as well. Scratch food coming out of the kitchen and all those great drinks coming from behind the bar. 29-degree cold beer, yes. Barrel-aged bourbons, yes. Local brews to go along with those great foods, absolutely yes. If you're not comfortable with staying, we'll pick it up. Go to TwinPeaksRestaurants.com. You can order it and have it delivered straight to you. You get all that goodness, and you can take it home and enjoy it. Either way, Twin Peaks is waiting on you. Go ahead by Twin Peaks tonight and enjoy a great bit of food and watch your favorite game. But, you know, I know why you're going to head over there. It's the scenic views.
ESPN San Antonio wants to pay for your home in 2021. ESPN San Antonio's Home for the Holidays contest. Entry and details at ESPNSA.com. 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, and on the go at ESPNSA.com.
Hi, my name is Jason Thompson. I'm an attorney and owner of the Thompson Law Firm right here in San Antonio. And for the past 25 years, I've represented people and families seriously injured in car and commercial truck collisions. After a collision, you need to know that insurance companies have trained adjusters and attorneys on staff with one goal in mind: pay as little as possible. How good are the insurance companies? It's fairly easy to figure out. All you need to know is that insurance companies report net profits in the billions of dollars every year. That's net profits. And this year will be no different. If you or your family have been seriously injured in an auto collision, I want you to call me as soon as you can after the collision. My number is 210-900-0400. That's 210-900-0400. Your call will be answered anytime, day or night. The phone call and our initial consultation is absolutely free of charge with no obligation. I want you to call me, Jason Thompson, 210-900-0400, or find me on the web at alawyerforus.com.
Strict attention to detail. That's what sets Kubota construction equipment apart. It's how we maximize performance, increase strength, and give you the dependability you demand. We engineer our equipment precisely at every level. It's what makes us a leader. Save up to $11,000 on construction equipment or get 0.99% APR financing for 72 months. Now through December 31st, 2020. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com for more information.
From the Gulf of Mexico to the hill country of Texas, Ewald Kubota is your Kubota dealer.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks. Looking for the perfect present? Then head to the perfect place. Stop by your neighborhood Ace and find the best gifts from brands like Steel, Eagle, and Milwaukee, or Traeger, Weber, and Yeti. And to help make sure your gifts are under your tree on time, you can shop in-store, online, or on the Ace app. Pick up in-store, curbside, or get them delivered. Get amazing deals on the best gifts when you wrap it in red at Ace at participating stores.
Celebrate the joy of Christmas at SeaWorld with millions of sparkling lights. Get festive with Elmo, jolly with Old St. Nick, and watch Rudolph's nose glow. We're making your safety a top priority with physical distancing, limited capacity, and more. Plus, don't miss our special holiday deals. Buy a season pass starting at $79.99 and get the rest of 2020 free. Offer ends January 3rd. Restrictions apply. Experience the wonder of the season at SeaWorld's Christmas celebration.
I hired nuptial num-nums to cater my wedding, and it was a disaster. Everyone was raving about the food instead of my dress.
No matter how hard you work for your small business, online reviewers will find something to complain about.
They're like, oh, Veronica, the lamb chops. Did the lamb chops fly you out to Cancun?
And while Progressive can't save you from these trolls, we can help you save money on commercial, auto, and business insurance.
I will not be hiring them for my next wedding.
Get a quote online today at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliated and third-party insurers.
Find out what happens when road rage takes a deadly turn. Rent Unhinged, now available at Redbox, starring Russell Crowe. He's a man whose actions escalate to deadly proportions as he becomes single-mindedly determined to teach a divorced mother a lesson after she impatiently honks at him at a red light. Watch Unhinged along with other new movies and make it a Redbox night. Head to one of the 40,000 Redbox locations, stream on your smart TV, or visit redbox.com for all the ways to watch.
It is the Blitz here on 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, on the go at ESPNSA.com. Jordan-Hare Stadium will be the locale of the kickoff at 11 a.m. mañana at KTSA. Our brother station will be broadcasting the Aggies. Let's hear from the voice of, his name is Andrew Monaco, and he is here. Welcome aboard, Andrew. How's life in Alabama?
It is good with a game day tomorrow. That's always a good thing when it's not only scheduled, but it's going to be played. We like that this college football season.
Well, it is 2020, but I tell you, the 11 a.m. kickoff. Not sure that I'm a fan of the 11 a.m. kickoff. I'm curious, how does the Inside Aggie football feel about 11 a.m. kickoffs?
Players love them. They love them. They don't want to wait all day.
Mm-hmm.
They just let's play. Let's get up. Let's get our meal. Let's get to the stadium. Let's hit somebody. It's funny. That was brought up to Carson Green earlier this season. The offensive lineman said, we love them. That waiting around for 7 o'clock, 7:30, nah, they don't want any of that. They want to get on the football field.
Yeah, you get all in your
Fans
feelings as you sit
right?
there
Fans
waiting.
absolutely hate it.
Well, it depends on how the tailgate's going. You know, sometimes that tailgate's so good they can push that back for another couple hours.
I knew you guys would pick up on that. That's exactly where I was going on that.
So now you just get to do it post. You celebrate appropriately or you cry into your can. Whatever it is, you get to tailgate the right way. He is Andrew Monaco, the voice of the Fighting Texas Aggies. Kickoff tomorrow at 11. You know, a lot is being made of the playoff scenario that we're looking at. The Aggies sitting at 5. Ohio State just trying to get enough games in and win those that are available to them to stay in the 4. And then you've got the ACC, who conveniently rearranged their schedule to ensure the integrity, we'll call integrity, put those in quotes, of the conference championship game. Integrity meaning nobody can stub their toe on the way to getting there. They're going to say it's to keep them, bubbled and safe. Does Greg Sankey have a point here, Andrew, that the system's being played?
He does have a point. And the thought in the beginning was, the ACC was saying, hey, we're going to follow what the SEC is going to do. The American did, the Big 12, and they all those conferences took the slings and arrows at the beginning, saying, from folks who did not want college football to be played, and the ACC seemed to be lined up alongside. Now they're protecting themselves for this, and I'm interested to see what the committee will do about this, how they're going to react to it. The ACC is trying to protect getting 2 teams into the playoff, Notre Dame and Clemson, with the thought being, well, if Notre Dame loses to Clemson, then their loss comes to Trevor Lawrence. And they had beaten, Clemson earlier, so that would be, 2 one-loss teams. I don't know. I don't know how the committee members will react to this. Greg Sankey makes a point. Look, they went to 10 SEC games. We've not done this before. I know fans absolutely love the idea. Fantasy-type people love the idea because they don't have to coach 10 SEC games, but they've done it the best way. They've kept their divisions. ACC didn't do that. You kept your division, and you had the crossover, which means, look, Jimbo Fisher said this in the past. If you're in the SEC West, you're in the best conference in the best – you're in the best division in the best conference. You're going to be tested every single year. And then to add more games, I think Greg Sankey does have a point here. I have to be honest with you. If you're trying to, I don't want to say rig the system, but it seems like you're doing that, and you're protecting just two teams. Who pays for it? I see it always comes down to economics, right? Who pays for these lost home games in the future? Like, how's the ACC going to divide all of that? Are the schools going to be happy with that? I think that's going to be something they're going to have to answer and answer to somewhere down the line.
Andrew Monaco, the voice of the Texas A&M Aggies, with us here on ESPN San Antonio. And Andrew, as you think about all of everything going on, you got to go win football games, and my partner in crime is a diehard Ag, but he calls it the battered Aggie syndrome. When we start talking about good things, he gets the willies, man. He doesn't want to hear it, doesn't want to talk about it. What's the mood like around College Station? I'm just curious.
They're excited. They're excited that this team took another step. I mean, Jimbo said this on his coach's show. He said, after you win 20-7 over the defending national champs, everybody's bummed. What's wrong? He goes, we win 41-38. Defense doesn't play great, and that's the greatest game of the year. He was being tongue-in-cheek about that. It's that complimentary football. It's interesting, though. Novembers have been better, right? Because Novembers really were the problem for the Aggies leading up to Jimbo Fisher getting here. And the very first, you think about that first year, 2018 under Jimbo, they come off a bye and lay an egg at Mississippi State, and they let one get away here in Auburn. They played about 3.5 great quarters of football, only to let Auburn come back and have it snatched away from them. And you're thinking, oh, man, not again. I know exactly where he's coming from. But then there was that turnaround, and Novembers have been good. And I would have been interested to see if you play Tennessee and Ole Miss in this month of November, could the Aggies have run the table? But even this year, 2-0 this year in those games. Now we'll see, about December. But there's this thought that this team has now, we talked in the past about building the foundation, and now you build on top of that, and you're seeing the experience and the leadership of this team under a Buddy Johnson on that defense, but you're seeing the young guys as well they're going to have to now take over, and that's why you're so excited about the DeMarvin Leals of this team. And when you get that going, that's really good. Jimbo has said time and again, players recruit other players, and you're seeing the younger players on this squad. They're telling their teammates, hey, you want to come here and be something special. I think that South Carolina game, honestly, was when you could see the experience and the younger guys blending it and see this is what Jimbo's building, and it's going to be like this for a while.
Andrew Monaco joining us here on ESPN San Antonio, looking toward the Aggie football game you'll catch on our brother station, KTSA. Kickoff tomorrow at 11 a.m. Jordan here, the host there, as the Aggies get ready to play Auburn. I have two concerns, and my first
Only
is...
two?
Well, yes. Right now, and as I talk, I'm going to come up with several more. But right now, the idea of a statement win is frightening to me. Because I understand for teams to get good that every team, no matter what sport or what you're doing, there are steps you have to take to get good, and you can't shortcut any of them. The Aggies are a good football team, really good football team. But they're not good enough to go, well, coming up on Saturday, we got to open a can of whoop ass. We got to get in there and get 40 on them. No, I just want them to go play football like they did with LSU. Dominate the game and control it. And whether you control it with a 13-point win or a 30-point win right now, that's the step you take. They're not to the Clemson or Bamas where they roll in and going, how much you want to get tonight? We're not there yet. Maybe we will, but right now I just want the win. That's my one concern. And then there's Auburn and the window dressing offense that we see every year. I know this defense is great, but are they disciplined enough to go against what I expect to see is a bunch of trickeration coming from Auburn, because that's all they've got, quite frankly.
Yeah, Gus Malzahn and the eye candy, right? He shows that an awful lot. It's the eye discipline that you need on the defense. And interesting, my partner Dave Elmendorf was talking with Mike Elko during the week, and then even after practice yesterday, look for the Aggies to designate a spy on Bo Nix, and you absolutely have to. if Tank Bigsby is healthy, that is a tough running back. And they've got wide receivers. They're going to try to get the ball in the hands of Schwartz, and they're going to try to get the ball in the hands of Eli Stove, and they're going to try to get the ball in the hands of Williams as often as possible. They're the type of players that they have, and there will be an awful lot of motion. The good news is, and Jimbo said this week, is more and more teams are kind of showing us that. That's been a part of their offense. So it's not like, we don't see it until we play Auburn. You're getting a chance to see it from some other teams as well. Mississippi State will do that as well, a lot of that motion. And to your point about, the statement victory, I think the statement was made by the defense last week, and I think that was Jimbo's point of, there's been a couple of games this year, Vanderbilt, the defense, handled took care of business for the offense, which struggled. 3 turnovers in that game, closer than it should have been. But it was the offense that took care of the defense in the wins over Florida and Arkansas. Jimbo didn't think the defenses he didn't think it was great against Arkansas. And then you could see that complimentary football come the week after that against South Carolina. But because you've given up just 2 points in 2 SEC games, your last 2 SEC games, one of them being on the road, I think that was the statement. You like to see this team play the complimentary football. You really do. I'm totally with you, Rob. I get it. Are they on that Alabama-Clemson level right now? No, they're not. Are they closer? Absolutely. But I think that's the excitement when Jimbo talks about the process and keep building. That's what he wants to get to. That's exactly what he wants to get to. But you can't shortcut it. You absolutely can't. You've got to keep building, and I think you're seeing that building because of an offensive line, because of the running backs running hard, because of receivers blocking down the field, because he talks about Buddy Johnson's interception. But the first thing both Jimbo and Buddy talked about was the rush by Aaron Hansford allowed me to do that. You're starting to see that more and more, and you're starting to see fewer weaknesses on this team. It's not quite the strength of those 2 schools that we talked about, but I think they're closing the gap.
Andrew, and I don't want to sound overly critical of a kid from San Antonio, but you talk about they're not there yet to be able to do that. The defense is there. The offense, sometimes we see it, sometimes we don't. How much of that is just the inconsistent play from your quarterback? Kellen Mond was not good the other night against LSU, and if he played like that against some other opponents, they don't win that game.
No, there's a lot of games they don't win like that. And he, Jason, honestly, and you've known Kellen and his family as long as anybody has. You have that relationship, and that's not good enough for Kellen Mond, and I think that's been the beauty of it. But no, he was off. And, if you think about Jimbo talked about it a couple times in Isaiah Smith, and I need to find out the definition of this. He said he rat-trapped a couple of passes. Isaiah Spiller drops a pass around the 13-yard line. Could have stayed in bounds. But that's 3 completions. So that would give Kellen about 14 completions in that, still completing fewer than 50%. He bounced a couple throws. We're at the point now when Kellen does that, we're surprised. You know what I mean? Like there's been a consistency to him where I'm not going to say give him credit. Again, he's going to be his worst critic. He always is. I asked Jimbo, I said, who's harder on Kellen, you or himself? He said, at this point of his career, he goes, I truly believe it is Kellen. But he didn't have a turnover in that game. And I'm not trying to be funny here. I take that back. He probably should have had one by trying to reach that football over on that 4th down play. Jimbo is not one to he does not want his players reaching out that football because bad things can happen there. But he stayed away from a pick 6, got them in some good calls. Again, I almost like the Alabama game, they left yards and points on that field. The problem is you need to do it on that night. Can you shake out of it in the second half, not in the first half? And you just thought, could he do just enough on that Saturday to still get you the win? But no, you've got to have that kind of consistency. And when he's off, he's such a leader. It kind of affects everybody else. It would have been great. Okay, he's not having a great night passing. Let's hand it off. Let the offensive line carry that. That wasn't happening either. And it just seemed, Jimbo said, no rhythm. It seemed like it was always, when I say one guy, a different guy each play. Ryan McCullum may have been his play, and then it was Kenyon Green, and then it was Jalen Weidemeyer, and then it was Isaiah missing.
Right.
It always seemed to be that. It was that self-inflicted. He'd like to get past. How do you get past that? Let's hope that they've cleaned all that up before tomorrow against Auburn, because if they play like that, Auburn's way too talented.
Andrew Monaco here on ESPN San Antonio. You brought up the running game. Isaiah Spiller certainly has started to become a national name. What has he done differently, or is it just that growth in the offensive line that has brought him to where he is?
We talk about complementing each other. Isaiah wants to be a complete back, and he had 131 last week. That's where we're getting now, right? He has a 52-yard touchdown. They get an explosive play there. This young man is. He talks about complete, and when you talk to teammates, they talk about how he has hung on to the football. If you remember when he came in for Ja'Shawn Corbin last year, he had fumble problems. The way he's picking up pass protection, the way he picks up blitzes, coming out of the backfield despite that drop last week. I asked Jimbo, I said, sometimes it's cliche. Some guys have it, and he has it. His biggest thing, and Isaiah said this a couple weeks ago, is he has learned how to run between tackles. Every young running back, especially in high school, you guys see it every week. They run up the middle. They run between the tackles. There's nothing there. They want to bounce it outside. You can't do that in the SEC consistently. They're too strong, too fast, too athletic to do that. Now, to that offensive line, Rob, like you're talking about, if they get an initial surge, and that's pushing the D-line 2 yards back, Isaiah's not only able to get that 2, but maybe 2 or 3 more. And he has learned that a 5-yard gain is a good play for this team because now they're in 2nd and 5, which allows them, why are they converting on 3rd down so well, except for last Saturday? They've been in 3rd and short because they're getting positive plays. There's not the negative plays. He said before, I would try to bounce outside. Then it becomes a 2-3 yard loss. Now you're behind the chains. So I think it's that kind of maturity from him, but also knowing that offensive line loves to block for him. They'll do all they can. But realize, hey, 3-yard game, 2nd and 7's okay. If we get another 3, now we're in 3rd and 4. We're not in 3rd and 14. We're not 3rd and 11. There were so many 3rd and longs last week, and that's tough. I don't care what defense you're playing in the SEC. That's an uphill climb for any kind of offense. But Isaiah's really learning that aspect of the game, and I go back to, I think that's the maturity as a running back.
One more step toward the playoff. Aggies Auburn tomorrow, 11 a.m. Catch it right here on KTSA, our brother station. Andrew, have a great call. Look forward to talking to you next week. Stay safe.
Great talking to you guys. Have a fun weekend.
Andrew Monaco right here on ESPN San Antonio. Coming back, we'll look around the college and pro landscape, tell you what's on with our scenic views, and then Gary DeLon, San Antonio sports legend, and is going to join us, and we're talking a little bit of high school football and reminisce on what has been a humongous career in sports here in San Antonio. We'll be right back here on the Blitz, 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM. We're your home for the holidays.
You know, nobody ever plans on getting arrested, but it does happen to a lot of people every day for all kinds of reasons. It's Friday night. You're not planning on getting arrested this weekend, and maybe it's not you, but you get a phone call from a family member or a friend, or you see a teammate go nuts. You get yourself arrested. You want to get out of jail fast. You know the best way to do that is by calling my good friend Albert and his great staff at AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121, or go to the website mybestbailbonds.com. You can even start the bonding process there online. You don't have to call attorneys or anybody else to get out of jail, and you don't want to be forced into a PR bond. If the jail offers you a PR bond, make sure you truly understand what those conditions are before accepting it. Your best option, AA Best Bail Bonds. Nobody beats their price. Payment plans are available. They offer a free shuttle service. They're discreet and confidential and open 24/7. Offices all over San Antonio and Texas. Services nationwide. If you're down in the valley, over in Corpus, up in Dallas, anywhere in between. License number 149. Call AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121. 225-2121 or online, mybestbailbonds.com.
Love the Blitz? Well, why not watch along and interact with the guys every weekday from 4 to 7? You can watch the show live every day at ESPNSA.com or on the ESPN San Antonio Facebook and YouTube pages. Just search ESPN San Antonio and subscribe.
Craving wings? Wingstop now delivers. You just got to go to wingstop.com or download and order right off of the Wingstop app, and you can get that great flavor delivered right to your door. They can order and go pick it up, or you can have them bring it to you. They even have the option for no contact delivery, but you know it. You can count on Wingstop for classic and boneless wings, sauced and tossed in 11 mouth-watering sauces and dry rubs, freshly made just for you. For lunch, for dinner, for late at night, you can crush your crave for classic and boneless wings at wingstop.com or by downloading the Wingstop app. Wingstop, where flavor gets its wings.
This ESPN San Antonio college football update brought to you by Dos Equis, a most interesting beer.
For 20 years, Smoky Moe's Barbecue has become a neighborhood favorite by serving up your favorite real pit smoked barbecue, brisket, turkey, sausage, and pork loin. This holiday season, try a Smoky Moe's whole smoked turkey or make it a complete meal with a baked potato casserole and green bean casserole. Pre-order online at SmokyMoe'sBarbecue.com or at any of their 7 area locations. Smoky Moe's gift cards and sauce and spice gift bundles make great gifts. Online at SmokyMoe'sBarbecue.com. Those who know, eat at Smoky Moe's.
Jason Minix here for New Brakes, NUBrakes.com. New Brakes is a mobile brake shop. They come to you to fix your brakes. If you know your brakes are going bad or you think they are, go to NewBrakes.com and schedule your appointment. For you, for all of us, get your brakes fixed. Before you head out on the holiday road trip, get the sense of security while driving that your brakes won't fail you. Cold, wet weather is hard on your brakes. New Brakes has made getting your brakes repaired easy, convenient, and affordable. They'll come to your home, office, or wherever. Their certified brake techs will come to you to fix your brakes while you continue to do what you do. Working, online shopping, watching the game. They offer Saturday and Sunday appointments. They only fix brakes, and most repairs are done in less than an hour. New Brakes uses premium brake parts and back all repairs with a 24-month, 24,000-mile warranty. Go to NUBrakes.com and schedule your repair. Save 10% when you mention my name or ESPN. NewBrakes.com. That's NUBrakes.com.
Sales are rising quickly, but without another lead baker, Dale's Bakery is going to feel the heat.
Hey, you're baking alone today. I have to handle this order for the restaurant down the street.
Cool, but who's going to handle the pastries?
He needs to hire.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. The moment you sponsor a job on Indeed, you get a short list of quality candidates from our resume database. Indeed delivers 2.5 times more hires than the other branded job sites combined, according to Breezy HR 2019. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get a $75 credit for your first job post. Terms and conditions apply.
A great meal starts with great meat. Rob and Jason here for Tri-County Meat Market, the best meat market in San Antonio. It's locally owned and full service. Tri-County has carefully selected certified prime Angus beef cuts, Wagyu, and upper choice.
Tri-County has everything you need to up your grilling game, from beef, chicken, pork, fajitas, poppers, and more. Stock up on their Pick 5 for $25. Tri-County Meat Market. 2 locations on Ralph Fair Road and on Huebner Road, and online at tricountymeat.com.
With no fees or minimums on checking and savings accounts, banking with Capital One is like the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Kind of like Taylor Swift choosing what to wear.
It's looking kind of chilly out today. I think I'll go with a cardigan.
Yep, even easier than that. And with our top-rated app, you can bank anytime, anywhere, making Capital One an even easier decision. That's banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
New consumer accounts only. Approval required. Terms apply. Capital One N.A. member FDIC.
Welcome to Autozone, where we've got more ways to get what you need fast and take care of that fall tune-up. With our free same-day store pickup, you can order online and pick it up today at your local Autozone. Or we can bring it to you with our free next-day delivery. Just order on Autozone.com by 10 p.m. and we'll have it at your front door the next day. Getting your job done just got easier. Free next-day delivery on eligible orders. Restrictions at Autozone.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
It is the Blitz here on 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, on the go at ESPNSA.com. The Blitz is always brought to you by the Thompson Law Firm. The number you need is 210-900-0400. I'll say it again, 210-900-0400. Call Jason Thompson as soon as you can after an auto collision. Let him take care of the insurance companies while you get better. His website is alawyerforus.com. Scenic Views, we do it every Friday, looking around the college football landscape, brought to you by Twin Peaks. You better set your alarm, boys. 11 a.m. is like a a shotgun start. All the big games are going off early. This is one of those days you kind of wish you had like a red zone for college football, because not only do you have A&M Auburn, as we just spoke with Andrew Monaco, but Jason, also you got Ohio State trying to get in 6 games, taking on Michigan State.
They're playing. And the good thing with Ohio State, because, they're just changing all the rules, they're going to play them at 11. They're still trying to find another game for 8 o'clock. I mean, they're trying to get in 2 so they can get to 6. Screw all the rules. Who sucks out there? They're going to try to play them at 6 o'clock. I'm kidding. But, yeah, Ohio State is going to play that game. It was kind of up in the air until about a couple hours ago.
It is a strange situation, and they've got to get these games in. But Michigan State played spoiler last week. You hope that you wonder if they have enough to kind of derail.
Your Aggie is showing.
Sorry.
You hope. It's okay.
That's
Scenic views
out the door. Yeah, that's indeed your scenic views continue. Hey, Longhorn fans, you want to watch Herman's last game? You could do that too at 11 o'clock. Fox will be broadcasting the Texas-Kansas State game up in the Little Apple.
There's something there. Now, again, this is just the little detective in you. That game is on Fox, right? Guess who's one of the hosts on the Fox pregame show? Let's see how much love or not love does Urban Meyer give Tom Herman and that Longhorn football program. I wonder if he'll go all athletic director, not even mention the coach, but just talk about the glorious of the kids that he knows is going to come back. Does he say a lot of wonderful things about a Keontae Ingram before Keontae actually puts his name in the transfer portal? There's lots of things. I mean, I don't like the Fox pregame show. Nothing. I'm just not a fan of what they put together. I'm watching it tomorrow because I just need to see what Urban's going to say and how he's going to handle it.
Oh, and will he be? At the curtains?
Will he be live at the resort in Horseshoe Bay, or will he actually have to find a studio in Los Angeles? There's so many reasons to watch that show tomorrow.
All those scenic views can be found at Twin Peaks. 3 great locations waiting on you. Eats, drinks, and scenic views. Let's talk to a living legend. Gary DeLon, a San Antonio sports icon, will join Jason and I next as we reminisce about a fantastic high school football season, a regular season that's coming to a close tonight, but also an extraordinary career. Gary DeLon joining us next. You're on the Blitz, 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, and on the go at ESPNSA.com.
While the weather's not bad today, it's been cold. It's going to be cold again. If you need a jacket with a logo on it, get into Sammy's Embroidery Club over there on San Pedro. If you need your logo on any gear, no better place to go than Sammy's Embroidery Club. If you're a business owner, a manager, a club leader, you need your logo on masks, on hats, on shirts, on jackets, caps, half zips, hoodies, beanies. Sammy's Embroidery Club is the place to go. Nobody has better prices. Sammy has all the big name brands and is the only company in Texas that offers one-day turnaround, no order too big, no order too small. You need jackets done maybe for your employees for the Christmas party that you're not going to have, but you still got to give them all gifts. Get them some jackets or a half zip, your company logo on them. Be fantastic. Check the website, samsembroidery.com, or go visit that massive showroom on San Pedro, a mile inside Loop 410, next to Big Lots across from McDonald's. All items do come with a warranty, and you work with Sammy on the project. He's the owner, and he's by his phone right now. Call him, 210-824-3900, 824-3900 for Sammy's Embroidery Club.
Follow your favorite San Antonio area high school on 210varsity.com. Instant scores anytime on any device. Upload photos and videos from the action on your school's page. Click on 210varsity.com. Powered by Hill Electric, MomNeedsABreakCleaning.com, and ESPN San Antonio.
It's Friday night. You're heading to a stadium. You're going to get a Kielbasa sausage wrap. Maybe you're going to throw some on the grill, make your own. Those 11 a.m. kickoffs tomorrow morning. If you want the best sausage, the kind you could find back in butcher shops in the old days, then Kielbasa smoked sausage is what you're looking for, because at Kielbasa, they make their legendary smoked sausage in small 150-pound batches with fresh, high-quality ingredients, never frozen meat. They don't add fillers or chemicals that you can't pronounce. So when you buy Kielbasa brand sausage, you're getting the best, most authentic smoked sausage you'll ever eat. Michael Kielbasa guarantees that if it's not the best, call him. He'll give you your money back. His number is on the back of every package sold. Kielbasa sausage is available at Walmart. You can also find Kielbasa sausage, bacon, chorizo, and breakfast links at an H-E-B near you. You're going to fire up the grill, make sure you get some Kielbasa sausage.
An unprecedented year like 2020 calls for an unprecedented holiday offer from Diamonds Direct. So, for the first time ever during December, we're allowing 4 years zero-interest financing on anything and everything. It's our way of helping you make her holiday one to remember. Just pick any beautiful piece of jewelry, take the price, divide by 48, and that's your payment. A $4,000 pair of diamond stud earrings is just $84 a month. And we have the gifts women love. Rings, earrings, bracelets, bands, colored gemstones, all new fashion jewelry from top designers. And of course, the largest selection of engagement rings and certified diamonds in the country. After all she's been through in 2020, now's the perfect time to let her know how much you love her. Reward her with a gift that is romantic, timeless, and symbolic. And with 48 months zero-interest financing, you can afford to splurge. Diamonds Direct, helping you make that magical moment this holiday season. Shop online at diamondsdirect.com or in person in our showroom. Diamonds Direct.
At the shops at La Cantera.
We're the Aggies, official sponsor of the college football playoff, and we're here to say it's smooth, like a mental refreshing, those great tailgates, ice now. D-O-S-C-Q-U-I-S, those Aggies that sell beer.
For your next tailgate here in San Antonio, grab some ice-cold Dos Equis. Enjoy Dos Equis responsibly. Imported by Cervezas Mexicanas White Plains, New York. Copyright 2020.
Listen to this radio station on the radio.com app. Connect with your favorite radio shows through contests, social media, and podcasts. Create custom alarms with your favorite radio stations. All free with the radio.com app.
The great thing about facts, they're proven. Like the fact that crude oil contains impurities. Or that base oil made from natural gas is 99.5% free of impurities. And the fact that Pennzoil is the first synthetic motor oil made from natural gas, not crude oil. It gives you unbeatable engine protection. The proof is in the Pennzoil. Based on Sequence 4A wear test using SAE 5W30. Available at AutoZone and AutoZone.com.
Remember being in your favorite sport clips, getting set for that great MVP haircut experience? Yeah, how about if we made that wait even shorter? Now, with Sport Clips On Deck text alerts, when you check in online or with our app, we'll text you a 15-minute heads up when it's time to head in. And when you're the next man up, you'll get another text to come take your seat. Less wait time, more prime time. Sport Clips. It's good to be a guy.
It is the Blitz. You're on 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM. If you're on the go at ESPNSA.com, get to there quickly and watch Gary DeLon on our screen. It is an honor and a pleasure to welcome aboard Gary DeLon to the Blitz. As we end our regular season high school football coverage, it seems like a perfect time to speak with a gentleman that is on the Mount Rushmore of San Antonio sports broadcasting. Gary DeLon, welcome aboard, sir. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, guys.
You know, Gary, and I've known you for so long, mid-'90s, Ken's 5, you know, you're big-time reporter, colorful jackets, you're friends with everybody, introduced me to Drew Pearson back then, got me into doing play-by-play broadcasting. And I think I've done, high school football now for 21 years. I think I've been doing it a long time. You tonight are wrapping up 61 years of broadcasting high school football in this great state of Texas. I don't think people realize you're a former voice of the Dallas Cowboys, former voice of the Spurs. You've done everything. I mean, everything's great about you except for your ties to the Oklahoma Sooners, but we don't go there. But I mean, you've told me before you're going to retire. You told me at 50 years that was it. You told me at 55 that was it. At one point you're going to retire, and I'll end up getting the good games. I mean, but I don't believe that this is going to be your last game.
Well, I may do something, intermittently, but it's time because my body wants to do things, but it won't let me do it. And so I decided that, and my daughter is pushing me, she said, Dad, it's time you just give it up. So, but I'm sure I'll be attending a lot of things and going to a lot of ball games. But back in 1960, on my birthday, I moved from Oklahoma City to Dallas. They weren't doing any high school football in Dallas in those days. WFAA hired me. I started doing football on WFAA. And then I left WFAA because I got into it with that was the 2-frequency station, if you recall. Anyway, the one guy didn't like me, so I went to KLIF. They didn't do high school football, so I went to KYAL in McKinney, and I made more money doing football for McKinney than I did work with the Cowboys.
Well, I mean, I think about the original owner of the Cowboys, and that doesn't surprise me.
Well, I got mileage, and that made the difference, you see.
Mileage.
Yeah. And I had to go to Sulphur Springs and Greenville and oh, my gosh, Paris, and, so it was a lot of fun. But those were the days of fun. And let me just say this editorially. Now, I'm going to say this. This is my editorial comment, not yours.
All right.
You and I have been friends a long time. We've seen the transition change into not necessarily a good transition, but now to hear that Fox is going to charge stations like you and mine or internets $1,000 to stream next week, beginning with the playoffs. I've never heard of such a thing. This is still a pandemic pandemonium, friends, and it's just absolutely bull corn.
And corn isn't the word I would use, but that, my friends, is a professional broadcaster that knows when and when not. And for those of you that don't know, we've been doing our games on Facebook Live, getting a lot of positive feedback. For the first time during this pandemic with limited crowd sizes, the UIL lifted their ban on streaming games on Friday night.
Right.
When the lower classifications that started on time got into the playoffs, they sprung it on them, so we had a heads up that they were charging $1,000 a game for a broadcast rights fee. And obviously a lot of people did not budget for $1,000 per game.
Can't do that.
And then you're not even guaranteed to be able to broadcast the game on the streaming. So, when the playoffs start next week, we'll be radio only. All the cool stuff we've done on video goes,
In 1960, I had to beg, borrow, and steal to get games on the air and to find sponsors. And even Barry Robinson and I started football in San Antonio, broadcast football, in 1972, actually. My first game was right here. I covered it. There's the Lee Volunteers against the Churchill Chargers. Ended in a tie. Lee went on to win the state championship because Churchill was 8-0-2. They had 2 ties, and that's when Tommy Kramer led them to the championship. And just let me go back into history, because I think you were on the scene maybe this day. I don't know.
Oh, Gary DeLon, if you're watching on Facebook, actually has an old tape recorder.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a walking museum here inside the press box at Cumberland Stadium.
Great. This goes back to 1895. Jim Thorpe is on this tape, but I can't find it.
It works. I mean, you brought props and everything. I mean, this is fantastic.
This was the game. This was the 1995 game. Roosevelt against Flower Mound Marcus. And it was Greg Simmons and me, and Rudy Vasquez, Mo Aguilar, Shannon DeLon, and Bobby Stotzenberger, and one other guy, David Flores, on that broadcast, along with a guy named Greg Simmons. We had the bigger crew in CBS.
Yeah, well, that incredible game in 1995, the year Roosevelt and Judson won state championships in the same year, which
and East Central won in basketball.
An incredible time. Gary, I think about your career. And we all know you for your sports, but your reporting of the shooting of John F. Kennedy, the first man to report that the president had been shot, probably what you're most famous for, right?
Yeah, I got. Pardon me. I received an envelope today. I get about one a week. This guy sent me 5 enlarged pictures of Oswald shooting Ruby, and want me to sign it. And I got a call from the 6th floor museum. There's some things going on up there. They interviewed my wife, by the way, because she knew Jack Ruby far better than I did. And Jack was looking for me the night he came to the police department. And he was bringing me sandwiches, but that's when he saw Oswald come into the lineup room, and that's when his mind changed. And he forgot all about me. So they didn't know it.
Glad he did.
Ferris Rookstool III, who was the analyst for the FBI for 10 years, he told me that he said, "Were you ever interviewed?" I said, "No." He said, "You were the first guy they should have talked to because Jack Ruby was looking for you at the PD." I said, "I know. They never talked to me." And it came out at the appeals trial for Ruby. He yelled at me across the table as they were appealing his conviction. "Where were you, Gary? Where were you? I was looking for you." Well, nobody ever knew it except me, So.
Well, you were in the back room eating the sandwich he brought you. I mean, where else were you?
I hated corned beef sandwiches. I wouldn't have eaten it if he'd found me. But
no radio story is complete unless there's free food involved for the talent.
Well, I can't say too much about the Alamo Dome anymore, about their free food down there. But
You know, Rob, as you say that, the free food goes. Every time I do a game and Gary DeLon is there, he brings snacks. Tonight he brought some Snickers and somebody made cookies.
Barry Morris, by the way.
Okay, good.
One of our old officials.
Yeah.
He's 75 today, by the way. He's just a kid.
just a
child.
Yeah.
As we are joined by
As a matter
the boy
of
wonder.
the devil. Look, he heard me say his name.
That's it.
Happy birthday, Barry.
Happy birthday, and thank you for the cookies.
Yeah.
You baked your own cookies? That's crazy.
The cookies and the snacks, by the way, that's called a vet move. This
Well,
this
you
is
guys,
his first
I want to
rodeo.
pass on my compliments, to keep going every day. It's a grueling format to be there, to get guests, to be there to do the precise time, and to go find sponsors. Now, that's the toughest part. And you and I have talked about this. I still have sponsors who've been dead for 15 years who never paid me for 25 years ago.
And you're still billing them.
Well, I knew I'd have as much luck there as I did trying to do it in person. It was the layaway plan.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Gary, if this truly is your final broadcast.
For regular season.
For regular season, and this is your final year, and I still don't believe you. To use your words from earlier, that's bullcorn. I don't believe you, but if it is, thank you for everything you've done.
Oh, well, I'm a funny guy. I had an opportunity 3 times to go to ABC in New York, and I had a chance to come here for a heck of a lot less money. I turned to my wife, Joan, and said, honey, New York or San Antonio? She said, I'm not going to New York. And I came over here for so much money less. I never made money. That was not my motivation. I do this for the love of the game, just like you. Let me give a quick example. I wrote a story years ago about a little kid at Roosevelt High School named Ned Plum. He was 5'6", weighed 125 pounds, and he played his heart out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the kind of kid that I like to see. They don't have to be 6'6" and 300. This kid played his heart out. And Roosevelt had a pretty good team, and Willie McAfee, I think his name was. And Trey Ware was a quarterback, so it was a lot of fun.
You got to bring a Trey Ware quarterback.
They
and
overcame
linebacker
Trey
and
Ware at
everything.
quarterback?
Yeah, they did overcome Trey Ware at quarterback back then.
Well, you have to say beware.
Yes.
You got to wear a quarterback.
We say
Well,
that
Gary,
a lot.
Appreciate it. We were up against it. You know what that means.
Well, I don't want you guys to go on the fritz with the Blitz, so,
Well said. Gary DeLon joining us, a true San Antonio legend. Congratulations on what has been a spectacular season and a spectacular regular season career, though I stand with Jason Minix.
Thank
We
you
look
so
forward
much,
to seeing
guys.
you
I
soon.
appreciate it.
Gary DeLon right here on ESPN San Antonio, legendary airwaves. When we come back, let's look around the college football world with an expert. Taylor McHargue is going to join us for his weekly update as we look forward to a weekend of, almost end of the season college football. Hold on tight. We'll talk college football next. You're on the Blitz, 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM. We're your home for the holidays.
Sales are rising quickly, but without another lead baker, Dale's Bakery is going to feel the heat.
Hey, you're baking alone today. I have to handle this order for the restaurant down the street.
Cool, but who's going to handle the pastries?
He needs to hire.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. The moment you sponsor a job on Indeed, you get a short list of quality candidates from our resume database. Indeed delivers 2.5 times more hires than the other branded job sites combined, according to Breezy HR 2019. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get a $75 credit for your first job post. Terms and conditions apply.
I want the house.
What? All the money I spent and you think you should get?
Why shouldn't I? All the sacrifices I made for your precious little business.
That business paid for everything you have.
The business I was never paid to work for?
Oh, don't even go there.
Oh, I'm going there.
Divorce can be ugly, especially for your spouse. Call the Kalfas Law Group today. Prepare yourself before they do. 212-6969. That's 212-6969. The Kalfas Law Group, the group that specializes in divorce.
America's Diamond has created a half-hour television program called Buying Diamonds Intelligently. You can see where diamonds are mined, how they're cut and polished, how they're graded, certified, and laser inscribed, and how our beautiful diamond jewelry is made. You can see the show tonight on ABC KSAT 12 at 12:35 a.m. or right now on the internet at americasdiamond.com. America's Diamond is the largest diamond engagement ring store in America. We design and create our extraordinary jewelry right here in San Antonio. Quality for quality, we guarantee that the everyday America's Diamond price is lower than any jewelry store's very best sale price, or we'll refund the difference plus 25%. America's Diamond was voted San Antonio's best jewelry store by San Antonio Magazine, The Current Magazine, and for more than 25 years in a row, winner of the Express News Reader's Choice Award. America's Diamond is the official jeweler of the San Antonio Spurs and of the University of Texas at San Antonio Athletics. See America's Diamond first, 561-1000.
Not all pizza places are the same. Mellow Mushroom originated hand-tossed, stone-baked classic Southern pizza. Not in the mood for pizza? Order a calzone, hoagie, sandwich, burger, or a mellow salad and see how care goes into every item on the menu. Take your pick from 24 draft beers and or handcrafted cocktails. And many of the pizzas can be made gluten-free or vegan. Mellow Mushroom is at 1604 in Stone Oak Parkway. Hang with friends, watch the game, and mellow out at Mellow Mushroom.
It's time for some straight talk. Look, we all drop our phones. It happens. You fumble it, crack it, splash it. Well, Straight Talk Wireless now offers this new Platinum Unlimited plan that includes phone protection. Just $65 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data, plus 20 gigs of hotspot, 100 gigs of cloud storage, and more. All on the best network. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise. See Mobile Protect terms and conditions at Asurion.com/Straight Talk. Limitations and exclusions apply.
We saved serious cash with our Progressive Home and Auto Bundle and used the money to buy a new boat.
Who's ready to water ski?
This is not a real testimonial. Sure, customers can save big money with Progressive, but not enough for a new boat. They'll probably spend it on rent or gas money or maybe one of those little plastic wading pools for the yard.
Ahoy there!
Is what the captain might say. On the toy boat. In your wading pool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Hi, this is Emmett Smith. You're listening to 1250 ESPN San Antonio, now on 94.5 FM.
KZDC San Antonio. Jason Minix, Rob Thompson, The Blitz.
It is The Blitz here on 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM. If you're on the go or near a device, go to ESPNSA.com. You can watch the show live, and then at 7 o'clock, Hill Electric is energizing Churchill Roosevelt, the closeout of the regular season. Jason Minix and Kevin Brock will be on the call. We want to thank Gary DeLon for stopping by, man. What an absolute legend. Let's look forward to this weekend. 11 o'clock is the witching hour tomorrow. All the games that seem to matter will begin then. Let's talk about what we'll see to start the day. Taylor McHargue joins us, joins us here on ESPN San Antonio, our NCAA football expert. Taylor, welcome aboard, man. How's your week been?
I'm good, guys. How are you guys doing?
Oh, living the dream on a Friday evening. Friday night lights spread out before us. You know, Taylor, as we come into what appears to be a rather pivotal weekend, where does the pressure lie? Is it Ohio State in having to perform and justify a short season, or is it Texas A&M having to go get a big win to make that jump?
It's on Texas A&M, and I think look at where Ohio State is. You can tell they're already given the benefit of the doubt at 4. I think the pressure is on A&M. A&M is only their margin of victory this year has not been that high. They're winning their games by about 8 points is their margin of victory. They've got to figure out a way to close out these games against Auburn and Tennessee. They need a big win, especially against Auburn. They need a 3-touchdown definitive, hey, we're going to go out and beat these guys handily to prove to the committee that they belong to jump into the top 4. For Ohio State, you saw the comments earlier about from Barry Alvarez. Ohio State is going to be fine if they win out. I think if they win out, they're going to end up in the playoff. But for A&M, regardless of what happens, they've got to figure out a way to beat Auburn and do it soundly.
You know, the only comfortable team appears to be Alabama, and they still have to deal with Florida. But when you look at what the ACC has done in kind of trimming the schedule to fit the championship narrative that they wanted back in September, they're going to ensure the integrity of the ACC championship game by eliminating a couple of games and letting Clemson and Notre Dame prepare for this thing. It is certainly gaming the system. I know Greg Sankey, the SEC commissioner, kind of commented on that and the Big Ten's lack of games. Is there a legitimate argument here that the ACC has gamed the system? And if so, is it now time to start talking about an 8-team playoff where we don't have to worry about the manipulating the schedule to make sure your teams are worthy of getting in just the 4?
Well, the first part, they've absolutely gamed the system. And if you're, regardless of the conference you're in, these conferences this comes down to eyeballs on these teams and dollars and cents. And so if you can get the national exposure and solidify that you're going to have one of these teams is going to end up in the playoff, and potentially both of them down the stretch. Even if it's a close game with a healthy Trevor Lawrence and Notre Dame were to lose by a last-second field goal, there's still a chance that they keep Notre Dame in the Final Four. These conferences are all out for themselves, right? I mean, there is an argument to be made that obviously if you're a fan, it's frustrating to watch this happen if you're not an ACC fan. But they're exactly like you said, they paved a way to make sure that these teams play each other in the ACC championship. The second piece that you laid out, I think the perfect format for the highest level of college football is the 5 Power 5 conferences, their conference champions get in, and then 3 at large. I think those 8 teams every year, there would still be some drama, but an 8-team playoff with that format, I think would solve so many of the issues that we see. You wouldn't be having these conversations around Cincinnati right now. There'd be less worry if you're a Texas A&M. It would, or even a BYU. It would cure so many of the issues that we have in the sport, and it would prove up. You would see a 1 versus an 8 seed, and every now and then you're going to see a team rise up that's an underdog and win that game. And that's what college football is really missing, is you don't get those games like you do in college basketball. We miss those upsets because the field is so limited.
Taylor McHargue, follow him on Twitter, TMcHargue16, and follow his podcast. He's the host of the SEC QB podcast on the Believe Network. Great stuff if you're an SEC fan. As far as the games tomorrow, certainly we've got Ohio State and Michigan and Michigan State, which you expect Ohio State to roll, but if it's close, and then you've got the Texas A&M game against Auburn, and you expect A&M to roll, but it could be close, and then you've got the University of Texas going off at 11 o'clock against Kansas State over on the Fox Network. Could this be the last game for Tom Herman?
I think so, and I can't believe I'm saying that because even 2 weeks ago I thought he's going to be back. This isn't still, it's not enough sample size. He deserves another year, but I'm based here in Austin. The tune has changed towards him, and it's not just a wins and losses. It feels like when you see the issues around the program, you see some of their high level prospects that have decommitted from them. You see opt-outs late in the season. It feels like, you talk about losing a locker room, it feels like the momentum, the wind out of the sails, so to speak, is gone, and I'm not sure how you recover that. And the losses for Texas are so disheartening. When you go back to the TCU game, the way they lost that in the fourth quarter, the way they lost to Iowa State, 0 points in the fourth quarter against Iowa State, their inability to close these games out, that's where, if you're a Texas fan, there's this building frustration, and you feel like there's a lack of momentum. And who knows, if they can go get Urban Meyer, I think that's the second best coach in college football behind Saban. And then I'd have Dabo third. I think it would be a huge win for them. But I do feel like it would. If you made me call it today, I don't think he's Texas coach next year.
Given this scenario, and we've heard the rumors about Meyer and Marble Falls and Horseshoe Bay and all the other things, is it conceivable that they would let Herman go prior to the end of the season, and maybe that he wouldn't even see the Kansas game?
If they lose to Kansas State, then maybe. I don't see what good that really does. If you're going to go on the road and play Kansas, they're going to win that game. I don't think that it would matter regardless, but if they were to let go, if they lose this game against Kansas State, yeah, it wouldn't shock me if you look up on Sunday and they fire him.
You know, down here, the UTSA football program finished out a remarkable season. I think by every measure, this was a rousing success for Coach Jeff Traylor. As they sit and ponder what's going to happen with the conference, looking at the conference championship game, they're certainly bowl eligible. They will be playing here in the next couple of weeks. Looking at what they did, what is logical to expect from UTSA next year with another year of recruiting and another year under the guidance of Coach Traylor?
Coach Traylor has been I think he exceeded expectations and has been wildly successful in his first year there. They had a few pieces come back, but I think the biggest thing that speaks to his ability and his staff sort of riding the ship is look at what happened with their quarterback room over the course of the season, where especially in the first half of the year, they're rotating quarterbacks. They've got guys getting injured, guys not playing well. And then as the season goes on, Frank Harris establishes himself as the guy. And I would expect them to be in the conversation for Conference USA West every year moving forward. You talk about it being a rousing success. I'm not sure. Some of these games, think back to BYU. I remember coming on air with you guys talking about, hey, this is going to be, I expect that to be a 3 or 4 touchdown win for BYU. They go up there, and it's a one-score game. And if you're a UTSA fan, there's a lot to look forward to under Coach Traylor moving forward.
Taylor, as the season winds down, the Knight Commission offered their thoughts. The Knight Commission, they're a committee, a group of well over 100 administrators across the country, collegiate administrators and SIDs and the like, believe that the Power Five should exit and go ahead and leave. Now, they don't have much power, but they certainly do kind of represent the ebb and flow, I think, of college football. And given what the smaller schools have dealt with in the pandemic, I do believe it's certainly going to happen, but how likely do you see the break-off occurring within the next couple of years? Or are we still bound by all the TV contracts, and those are just going to have to expire slowly until the big Power Five can finally leave and govern themselves?
I don't think you have to have them leave. I think there's a solution where the lower-level conferences, the Conference USAs of the world, the MACs of the world, can still get their money games against the Michigans and the Texas and the Floridas of the world. But it would not shock me, and I would love to see it, if moving forward you see a Group of Five and a Power Five playoff where the best of the Group of Five have the potential to still get in the Power Five playoff. But if you don't, you're going to be in the Group of Five playoff. And the way that you solve for it is you still incorporate the bowl games, just like they do right now in the Power Five, where you still play the Rose Bowl and you still play the Sugar Bowl, but those are semifinal games. Well, it's the same thing, and fill in whatever the bowl game is, the Poinsettia Bowl in San Diego, the Pinstripe Bowl, whatever it is, and that's the Group of Five, and that's your play-in, and then you have your championship game where you get the best of both worlds. You get the non-conference games where your lower-level teams get to play the big guys, and then you play your conference slate. And then you have your version of the playoff at the end of the year where you feel like you had something to play for. Because that's the problem right now is, let's use UTSA or Rice, for example. You have a team that pops up and is a 10, 11 win team.
Right.
You still have no shot at playing in any sort of really meaningful game. Your reward is something like the Liberty Bowl that is going to be a noon kick and doesn't have that many people that really tune into it. I think a playoff for both of these teams solves for that.
That is a Rice education speaking right there. I could not agree more. Taylor McHargue joining us here on ESPN San Antonio, our college football expert. Good stuff, Taylor, man. I appreciate your time today. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you next.
Of course, man. Have a great weekend.
Taylor McHargue, make sure you're following him on Twitter, but more importantly, check out his podcast, the SEC QB podcast on the Believe Network. Great insight. He has great guests, and if you're a fan of the SEC, it is a worthy follow there. When we come back, we hear from the one of the young dudes, the leader of the dudes, as it were, I believe. DeJounte speaks as the Spurs gathered together and had their first practice, and the schedule release. And if you're looking for a Spurs game on TNT or ESPN, stop. They're not there. No national games in the future, at least for the first half of the season. We'll catch you up with that as well. Hang where you are, because you're on the Blitz, 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM. We're your home for the holidays.
We're number one on Kate Upton's presets. Okay, we probably aren't. But how awesome would that be?
Yes, I was.
Hi, Kate. San Antonio sports leader. 1250 ESPN San Antonio and 94.5 FM. All day, every day.
At Security Service Federal Credit Union, we believe there's nothing better than the feeling of home. After all, home is where we're together.
Hey, come on in.
Where we laugh. Where we celebrate. Home is where we always feel just right. Security Service works hard to get you the lowest rate and a monthly payment that's comfortable for you. Because we believe a home loan should feel just right, just like home. Save up to $5,000 on closing costs or lower your payments with a power rate. Get started with a free virtual appointment at ssfcu.org. Security Service, for a home loan that feels like home.
Equal housing lender. Membership eligibility required. Loan subject to credit approval. Offer subject to change. Valid in Texas, Colorado, and Utah. Offer to save up to $5,000 does not cover certain costs. Not valid on FHA VA loans. Other restrictions apply. Visit ssfcu.org for details.
If you're a bacon lover, I've got great news for you. This is Michael Kilbasa with Kilbasa Smoked Meats. Our authentic dry-cured bacon is now available at grocery stores near you. We make it the old-fashioned way with the finest pork bellies in our legendary spice blend. We don't pump it full of water or chemicals like other brands. All you get is thick, savory slices of delicious bacon. I hope you'll give it a try, and if it's not the best bacon you've ever eaten, I'll give you your money back. Kielbasa Smoked Meats, slow crafted in Texas since 1949.
For 20 years, Smoky Mo's Barbecue has become a neighborhood favorite by serving up your favorite real pit smoked barbecue, brisket, turkey, sausage, and pork loin. This holiday season, try a Smoky Mo's whole smoked turkey, or make it a complete meal with a baked potato casserole and green bean casserole. Pre-order online at SmokyMo'sBarbecue.com or at any of their 7 area locations. Smoky Mo's gift cards and sauce and spice gift bundles make great gifts. Online at SmokyMo'sBarbecue.com. Those who know, eat at Smoky Mo's.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Looking for the perfect present? Then head to the perfect place. Stop by your neighborhood Ace and find the best gifts from brands like Steel, Eagle, and Milwaukee, or Traeger, Weber, and Yeti. And to help make sure your gifts are under your tree on time, you can shop in-store, online, or on the Ace app. Pick up in-store, curbside, or get them delivered. Get amazing deals on the best gifts when you wrap it in red at Ace at participating stores.
Mother's Window Tint, your car stereo and auto security headquarters, announces you will save on really dark window tint. It's perfectly legal to have really, really dark window tint. Mother's has it all. Light, medium, dark, metallized, color stable, scratch resistant, ceramic, and carbon fiber based films. Every tint is a custom fit tint at Mother's Window Tint. Save $100. Save on car alarms that will protect yourself and your family. 24/7 live vehicle monitoring. Remote start your car. Mother's alarm systems provide the features not found on factory alarms. Plus, Mother sells car stereos that will make your car go thump, thump, thump. Mother Thump. Save $100 since 1984. Service centers in Austin and San Antonio. Check us out on Facebook or our website, motherswindowtint.com. Remember, do it at Mother's and save.
I mean, it's fair. We didn't make the playoffs last year, so, we don't deserve to, get that special treatment. I myself, I like to work for everything. So, we gotta make them put us on TV, national TV, and that's taking one game at a time and getting back on the winning side of basketball.
A very mature view from DeJounte Murray. Earlier, he offered us his thoughts on the beginning of the season as the Spurs training camp began in earnest, quite frankly, today. They all practiced together for the first time in prep for their first preseason game next Saturday night. DeJounte Murray is in a unique position as one of the young dudes, as he's the one that's been here the longest. He was the earliest of the high draft picks, and he provided that very first link to where we are now, this new style of basketball that, if you look in hindsight, looked like Pop was heading this direction for quite some time, though we were surprised it took so long to get to where we are now, trying to catch up, or not catch up, but trying to become more of a more modern NBA style of basketball where all 5 guys can pressure the defense. Now, DeJounte certainly spent some time down, but coming back and rehabbing must not have been easy. But in this time of strife and return, I think he's turned himself into a leader, and you can certainly hear it by his response today.
Well, I mean, it was 8 games. As you guys all know, NBA is a long season. We show we're capable of, as far as 8 games coming together. And there, like I said, everybody just playing together. Everybody touching the ball. You might score 20 tonight, or he might score 10, or he might get 30, whatever. But at the end of the day, we had the same goals in the bubble. Like, it's going to be your night, his night, his night. Let's go defend, play together and try to get as many wins and get better. That was the whole point of that, to go get better and try to get a playoff spot. So, adding guys in like LA, we're excited to, have him back, just his presence alone, and, as long as he get on board with us and ready to, continue to do what we're doing in the bubble, then I feel like we'll be just fine.
DeJounte Murray today talking about coming back from the bubble, the work that he put in to get themselves ready today. And you can, James, you can sense a little bit of there's a leadership role here because, talking about LaMarcus, the success they had, the growth they had as the team, well, it was done without their best guy. And you look at what the future holds as these four young guys look to take the next step with the Spurs. LaMarcus can either, be a part of this or not. And you're starting to get the feeling that the young guys are looking for buy-in or looking for an exit visa for this guy.
Yeah, it was incredible to hear him kind of say, get on board because this is going with or without you, and kind of fall in line. And I feel like that cemented what we think is DeJounte taking on a leadership role within this. You and I have both talked about it, how we kind of thought of the young guys. Maybe Derek was the leader of them. But I think DeJounte is starting to flex his muscle because if you remember, he was the one going into the bubble that we heard on I believe it was the In the Paint podcast on Yahoo Sports that was saying the young dudes is ready to play. Like, we need our shine. It's our term. We're killing them in practice. We need our time on the court. And we heard that during the hiatus. And lo and behold, we finally saw it in the bubble. And I think DeJounte is really starting to become not just a vocal leader, but just a leader in general on the floor and off the floor for the San Antonio Spurs.
You look at what you brought up, Derek White, and I do believe that Derek is the heart and soul of the team. He's the guy that'll step in and take a charge. He's the guy that does the grunt work, where DeJounte has, by just seniority, certainly been here as long or longer than others, but there's just an edge to him that I appreciated hearing as far as his thoughts on LaMarcus. He would be a great addition, and there's certainly, him here adds 10 wins. I believe that. And I think the players understand that, but they also realize that this is a guy that very easily come June could be gone. Won't be under contract, and it could be time for him to go. So why wait if you're not going to be part of this as far as understanding his role, his newer role, while it still might be a star, it will have to be kind of shared with the four other dudes that are on the court. DeJounte is a leader by nature. And, certainly he's hung around with LeBron James to understand his worth here. But this is an important year for DeJounte. He got a little extension, but now it's time for him to start to justify as the Spurs retool with a little bit of extra money for free agents. But there's a lot of guys on this team that do the very same thing that DeJounte does. These each are going to have to separate themselves and show a particular skill set to maintain a long-term kind of relationship with the team.
Yeah, and I think DeJounte's skill set that kind of separates him from the others is his defensive ability, because we saw it early in his career being, second team All-NBA defensive. I mean, he's got the skill set, and we saw it in the bubble a little bit too, except for a small lapse where he cheated a little too far on Embiid late in the bubble against the 76ers and left, Shake Milton open for that game-winning three. But he owned it too after the fact and knew that he cheated a little bit too far and said so in his post-game interview, and taking ownership as part of being a leadership as well for your own failings. And I think we're starting to see it from him. And I was actually asked in terms of LaMarcus earlier today on the Locked On Spurs podcast about LaMarcus's future, and could I see the Spurs bringing him back? And if he fits well and does what we envision in terms of being a three-point shooter and not slowing the offense down and kind of expanding his role, not so much in terms of touches, but just in the way his game expands the floor for the Spurs as a whole, I could totally see him coming back, because I don't think he's a $35, $28 million a year player like he has been going into age 35, 36. That price tag's going to come down on an older vet like LaMarcus Aldridge, which makes it more palatable for him to obviously take that non-superstar face of the franchise role.
It's certainly a possibility, but first and foremost, his game is going to have to adapt, and that will be exactly what DeJounte was talking about. Is he willing to run with us in a way that we are going to run instead of dominating the ball like he's been asked to do in the past? There's no reason to think he can't. He just never has had to before, but we've heard about his expanded role. Hey, coming back, the news of the day across the country certainly is the story coming out of Edinburgh, Texas. The kid that attacked the referee last night, took him out there in the second quarter. He has been charged with a Class A misdemeanor assault. Edinburgh has pulled themselves out of the playoffs. They made the call, not the UIL. Well, the story first started making the rounds last night. The beat writer down there, Andrew McCullough, of the Monitor down there in McAllen, has the insight there. He's going to join us next as we look at the aftermath of what was a terrible incident in the UIL playoff game last night, where an 18-year-old football player from Edinburgh High School took out a referee, literally bulldozed him. Injuries followed. We're going to go straight to the source. Andrew McCullough is going to join us next. You're certainly going to be here for that, so hang around. You're on 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM. We're your home for the holidays.
ESPN San Antonio is your home for the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, Mike McCarthy. Every Friday, Mike McCarthy on the Blitz is brought to you by AA Best Bail Bonds. Your home for everything Cowboys is ESPN San Antonio.
It's been a hell of a year, San Antonio. I'm Chip Ingram, and my bars, the Brew Pub and Angry Elephant, have been closed more than they've been open, and I didn't see that coming. Fortunately, things are getting better. 281 North is open, and football is finally here. Our kitchen is open every day till 2 a.m., and we open for happy hour at 11 a.m. And as our customers say, our food is pretty darn good. So this is me asking you to help a local guy and his staff get back on our feet. Come see us at the Brew Pub and Angry Elephant at 281 North and Redland Road.
Here comes Aggies, official sponsor of the college football playoff, and we're here to say it's smooth, like a mental refreshing, with straight and tailgates, buy some now. D-O-S-C-Q-U-I-S, those Aggies, that sells beer.
For your next tailgate here in San Antonio, grab some ice-cold Dos Equis. Enjoy Dos Equis responsibly. Imported by Cervezas Mexicanas, White Plains, New York. Copyright 2020.
Working from home, you realize you don't have enough outlets or USB ports. Hill Electric can fix that for you. For over 3 decades, the family-owned Hill Electric has served San Antonio homes and businesses. From adding an outlet, fixing that fuse that always blows, or that flickering light, Hill Electric has the right service at the right price, and there is never a service charge and always free estimates. Call Hill Electric at 210-404-9074. That's 404-9074. Or go to hill-electric.com.
Jason Minix here for New Brakes, NUBrakes.com. New Brakes is a mobile brake shop. They come to you to fix your brakes. If you know your brakes are going bad or you think they are, go to NewBrakes.com and schedule your appointment. For you, for all of us, get your brakes fixed. Before you head out on the holiday road trip, get the sense of security while driving that your brakes won't fail you. Cold, wet weather is hard on your brakes. New Brakes has made getting your brakes repaired easy, convenient, and affordable. They'll come to your home, office, or wherever. Their certified brake techs will come to you to fix your brakes while you continue to do what you do. Working, online shopping, watching the game. They offer Saturday and Sunday appointments. They only fix brakes, and most repairs are done in less than an hour. New Brakes uses premium brake parts and back all repairs with a 24-month, 24,000-mile warranty. Go to NUBrakes.com and schedule your repair. Save 10% when you mention my name or ESPN. NUBrakes.com. That's NUBrakes.com.
Sales are rising quickly, but without another lead baker, Dale's Bakery is going to feel the heat.
Hey, you're baking alone today. I have to handle this order for the restaurant down the street.
Cool, but who's going to handle the pastries?
He needs to hire.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. The moment you sponsor a job on Indeed, you get a short list of quality candidates from our resume database. Indeed delivers 2.5 times more hires than the other branded job sites combined, according to Breezy HR 2019. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get a $75 credit for your first job post. Terms and conditions apply.
What's in store this holiday at your local Staples?
Decking the halls with custom cards and invitations.
Staples makes connecting with clients and loved ones easy. With hundreds of holiday templates you can customize and call your own.
And now, for a limited time, get 50% off select custom cards and invitations. Some can even be printed same day.
So deck the halls for less this year at Staples.
Shop in store or order online.
Ends 12/5/20. Limit 1. Visit staples.com/holiday cards or store for details.
I'm Dr. Andrea Russo, a cardiologist. Maybe you're waiting to talk to your doctor right now. But if you're having an irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness, don't wait. This could be a serious condition like atrial fibrillation, which can make you about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. If you're having these symptoms, don't wait. Talk to a doctor by phone, online, or in person.
Brought to you by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Getting ready for the hangover without the headache. The Saturday Morning Hangover. Saturday mornings 9 to 11. James Pledger and Jack Thompson bring you the latest on the Cowboys, Spurs, Texans, Longhorns, Aggies, Red Raiders, Roadrunners, and more. Check out the Saturday Morning Hangover. Saturday mornings 9 to 11. 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, and on the go at ESPNSA.com.
It is the Blitz. You're on ESPN San Antonio. He's Jason Minix. I'm Rob Thompson, coming to you from the O'Reilly Auto Parts Mobile Studios, comfortably ensconced. Last night, national news was made down in Edinburgh. Just a difficult thing to watch. A high school football player takes out a referee. One of the eyewitnesses was Andrew McHargue. He's a sports reporter with the Monitor down there in McAllen. Also does some work with RGVSports.com. Andrew, thanks for taking some time with us as we look to what was a terrible event. Now, we understand that he has been charged with a Class A misdemeanor. We also heard from the school district last night that, or today, that they have pulled the team from the playoffs. Is there, I imagine there's great concern about that and probably a stirring there in the community. What's the status now after what was just a terrible event last night?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, thanks for having me on. I appreciate you guys taking the time and having me. A lot has happened actually recently, so I'm kind of excited to tell you guys about it. The weirdness of the situation was Edinburgh CISD earlier today said the Bobcats weren't going to be able to play in their bi-district playoff game. They released a statement, an additional statement actually, right before I came on the air that essentially said the UIL told them either you tell the Bobcats they're not playing or we will tell them for you.
So I'm
told essentially the decision was made in conjunction between the UIL, the school district, and the school district's attorneys.
And Andrew, is the UIL essentially backs what the school district said by getting the team out of the postseason. And I don't know if I agree with that based on one individual, but the whole team suffers, and you know how much that sucks for everybody else involved. What we saw last night can't happen again, and the UIL needs to send a strong message. So does the school district. But you've covered this player for a long time. And reading about him, it does appear he has had some anger management issues before during athletic competitions. What kind of player is he? What kind of kid is he? Give us a little bit of info on this individual player.
For sure. He's a very talented multi-sport athlete, so we'll just start out on that. I think the instance you're referring to is last season on the soccer field. He got into a similar type of altercation where he was ejected from a game and physically shoved a ref in that one before being helped off by his teammates and his coach. He was suspended for the rest of the soccer season last year, although he's such a talented football player and wrestler that it almost seems like a third of a punishment, if we're being honest, right? He came in fifth last year in the 220 weight class at the UIL Texas State Wrestling Championship. So, I mean, this is a physically very large guy, too. I mean that only in the sense that, you know what I mean, there weren't necessarily players or coaches who were big enough or fast enough necessarily to prevent everything that happened last night from happening as quickly as it did.
Was there any reason to expect or suspect that he would do it again?
I don't think so. That's the thing that has everyone scratching their head right now, to tell you the truth. I mean, before this incident happened, the one that's made its rounds on social media that we've all seen, there was a little bit of chippiness back and forth earlier in the game, but just words between those two. And it seems like this was really like the straw that broke the camel's back, so to say. The play in question, he got flagged for a roughing the passer after the whistle had blown the play dead for a while. And then he picked up a second flag on the play for exchanging words with the referee. And then you kind of see on the video he's pacing back and forth on the sideline while the coaches are kind of trying to figure out what's going on, honestly. And then you see the referee make that announcement, and a split second later, he charges onto the field. To tell you the truth, talking to people who were on the sideline with me when that happened, it seemed like the general consensus was he was going after a player on the other team, which is why I think no one was able to stop him before what happened ultimately.
So you were people on the sideline thought he might be charging the field to go after another player. Instead, he goes and he attacks the referee. Based on that history, getting suspended last year during soccer season, we were talking about this earlier. Does the coaching staff have any responsibility on what we saw last night? And ultimately, it was all on that kid. But is this a guy that, in your opinion, in the aftermath of what we're seeing, hindsight being 20/20, but is he the kind of player that probably shouldn't have been allowed to be on a football field for UIL?
Hindsight's 20/20, right? But I think that's the question everyone has to be asking right now: is how is there a track record of this, and how is it allowed to happen again? I don't know that there was necessarily anything that could have been different in the heat of the moment last night. But I guess the real question is, how did we get to a situation where this was feasible really in the first place? You know what I mean?
We are joined by Andrew McCulloch. He is a sports reporter for The Monitor there in McAllen and also works for the RGVsports.com. He reported on the story last night. The young man, an 18-year-old, I'm not going to mention his name, played at Edinburgh football on the Edinburgh football team, charged onto the field and literally just blindsided a referee, causing him to be looked at by the medical professionals there. There was some concern about a concussion or a shoulder issue as well. What is his status?
So the referee was able to walk off the field under his own power. It did seem like there was a moment where he might need to be carted off, but thankfully it wasn't that serious. We had kind of a lengthy delay while things got sorted out. He was ultimately treated for concussion-like symptoms and a shoulder injury in the ambulance that was kind of on standby outside of the stadium. He was treated there right outside of the stadium for the rest of the game, but he didn't return, which made this game awkward also because it was a shorthanded officiating crew. And I think the note that's been lost in all this also, which was difficult for the Bobcats moving forward in this game, right, because it happened at the beginning of the second quarter, the player involved in this is not only their best defensive player, but also their regular kicker and punter. So they actually trotted out an offensive lineman at kicker in the second half, which is something I haven't seen before.
Well, and again, I mean, it's just such a bizarre and awful circumstance. A few years ago here in San Antonio, we had two players with John Jay in a game against Marble Falls after some racial remarks were made by an official. And we all know how that story ended. Also in San Antonio in 1999 at South San, a kid named Tony Lamone punched Brent Holmes during a basketball game, got 5 years for that. When you think about where this is and the fact that the player is 18 years old, an incredible athlete, I'm sure that there were some colleges looking at him at the time. Ultimately, he has been charged. Where do you see this ending up? What are you hearing?
So he was charged with a Class A assault earlier in the day in a raid. Actually, right before I got on with you guys, he bailed out. So I need to check on the status of that again. But I did also hear right before I got on with you guys, the Edinburgh High Bobcats football team, led mostly by a group of seniors, is going to petition Edinburgh CISD and the city of Edinburgh to play in the bi-district playoff game they earned a spot in last night, which is really, I think, the most unfortunate part of all of this is you had a team that played their best game of football all season for 3 quarters without their best player, and now it's all overshadowed by this one unfortunate moment. And also now potentially the rest of their season is in jeopardy because of it.
He is Andrew McCulloch. He's a sports writer with The Monitor in McAllen. As he joined us, he informed us that while Edinburgh, the district, withdrew their team from the playoffs, this was in coordination with the UIL, where the UIL would probably have made that move if Edinburgh ISD had not. Do you expect the petition and all that goes on there having any effect on Edinburgh rejoining the playoffs?
It certainly seems difficult to see them overcoming that obstacle if the UIL is as determined to keep them out of the postseason as it appears. I will say, just for some background info, we had 3 teams in the preseason actually petition for the right to play who were not going to play for COVID reasons. Those teams were the Mission High Eagles, the Mission Veterans Patriots, and the La Jolla Palmview Lobos. So there's certainly some recent history to suggest that that might be an effective move. But then again, those teams were petitioning only their school districts and not the school districts and the UIL, which seems like an uphill battle.
You know, Andrew, you think about last night after the game, obviously the head coach didn't want to comment, and, you know, that's certainly understandable. Have you had a chance to talk with anybody on that coaching staff today about what we all saw last night?
I've been unable to reach anyone on the Edinburgh High coaching staff today. I think certainly they weren't available earlier in the day because I think they wanted their players to hear it from them first, which I can respect certainly. Things are moving pretty fast here, though, so I'm sure we'll have more to update pretty soon on this. I mean, I could see a situation where maybe these guys play a playoff game this week, but it kind of looks unlikely right now.
Describe the rivalry. Was this a true rivalry game? Certainly it was a play-in game. There was certainly a lot on the line. But is there bad blood between these schools, and does it go back for a while, or was this just kind of a one-off?
Well, you bring up 2 interesting points there because these are 2 of the oldest schools in the Valley. You know, this is an area where there have been a lot of new schools popping up in the past couple of years. But these are 2 of the schools that are almost 100 years old here, and there are only a handful of those. So they certainly have a rich history of playing one another, even if it's maybe not necessarily a recent rivalry. And you brought up the other big point, which was this was a winner-go-home game, essentially. I mean, the winner goes to playoffs, the loser's season is over. So it's just kind of an extra head-scratching move to think that you would not only put your own future in jeopardy, but your team's future in jeopardy given the stakes.
Well, clearly he wasn't thinking about the team, but it certainly seems like the team is going to pay the ultimate price because their season is over. And for those seniors, you know, likely their football careers are over. I know, you know, it was a Thursday night game. It's Friday night. It looks like you're at a stadium. I'm at a stadium getting ready for a high school game. And it's the only thing anybody's talking about. You know, what is the general, when you're just talking to either other coaches or officials, people in the press box, what is the general thought on what we all saw last night besides disbelief?
Well, that was a good segue because that's all anybody's been talking about down here today on the football front especially. I think a lot of people feel really sorry for the seniors who did play the game the right way yesterday and who played very well and earned a spot in the playoffs, but now unfortunately kind of have to deal with this whole hairy situation. And I don't really know that there is necessarily a clear outcome where everybody wins in this one. You know what I mean? It's unfortunate.
Andrew, what game are you going to do tonight?
Tonight, in an ironic twist, I'll actually be back at the same stadium in Edinburgh. This will be for the District 31 6A championship. It'll be the undefeated Edinburgh Bailiff Sabercats versus the undefeated Mission High Eagles. If Mission wins, it'll be their first undefeated regular season in 29 years. The first time since their head coach was a senior, Coy Detmer, who you guys are very familiar with up there.
Absolutely, we are. Andrew, you know, I saw your tweet shortly after and followed you all night. You did an incredible job keeping everybody up to date with what was happening down there, and you're getting retweeted and reached out to everybody from Barstool to Good Morning America. What's the strangest or coolest place you said, holy crap, they picked my stuff up? And give me credit for it, damn it.
I'm glad you asked that because it was kind of hard to pick just one outlet until it kind of hit me in the face. Late last night, I had a reporter from Denmark actually reach out to me about this story, and that is kind of when I had to go look in the mirror and figure out just how big this had become.
The lure of Texas football.
Yeah, exactly. Oceans away.
Andrew McCullough, great job keeping us up to date. Keep it coming. Very interesting news coming out of Edinburgh, and Andrew McCullough broke it for us right here. He is with the Monitor. Have a good call tonight. We look forward to speaking to you at some other point on something much more happy.
Absolutely. Look forward to talking to you all again. Thanks for having me.
Maybe you'll be up here third week of the playoffs. Here we call it Valley Week. I'm not sure what you guys call it, but third round, if you're up here, beers are on me after the game.
Deal. I'll see you up there.
Andrew McCullough right here on ESPN San Antonio. You know what they call it? The end of the road. We'll be right back and put a bow on the show. You're on the Blitz, 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM. We're your home for the holidays.
The ESPN San Antonio High School Football Game of the Week, energized by Hill Electric. Brought to you by Mom Needs a Break Cleaning, the San Antonio Express News, Smoky Moe's Barbecue, and the Sports Institute at TSAOG Orthopedics. Every Friday night starting at 7.
Not all pizza places are the same. Mellow Mushroom originated hand-tossed, stone-baked classic Southern pizza. Not in the mood for pizza? Order a calzone, hoagie, sandwich, burger, or a mellow salad and see how care goes into every item on the menu. Take your pick from 24 draft beers and or handcrafted cocktails. And many of the pizzas can be made gluten-free or vegan. Mellow Mushroom is at 1604 in Stone Oak Parkway. Hang with friends, watch the game, and mellow out at Mellow Mushroom.
Did you get yourself a new flat panel TV over the Black Friday sales? Now you need to get it installed. This is why you need to know about BSG. Jason Minix here for BSG, the company that brings you the best in home security and smart home technology. Now that you have that new flat panel TV, you need to get a hold of BSG and let them install it because they're doing a $99 on-the-wall TV install special. That's right. Most companies like the big box stores, they charge double for this service. At BSG, they're doing it for 50% less. Yes, 50% less, $99 on the wall. I can tell you the flat panels I have in my house, BSG hung them the way they're able to make them look like they're floating on the wall with all the wires hidden inside the wall. Some exclusions apply. Go to bsgtexas.com for more details and schedule your appointment for installation today. Again, $99 on the wall TV install from BSG. bsgtexas.com is the website or call 210-877-1222.
Guys, be a hero this holiday season by getting a cleaning from Mom Needs a Break Cleaning. We spend a lot of time looking for the perfect gift. How about the gift of a clean house that doesn't require you cleaning baseboards? Call 210-815-1399. Mom Needs a Break Cleaning is an affordable and professional way for you to get hero status. For residential and commercial cleaning services, call 210-815-1399. That's 210-815-1399. Or go to momneedsabreakcleaning.com.
Progressive presents The Sounds of the Old World.
The year is 2019, and someone is getting up to use the bathroom at the stadium.
Excuse me? Excuse me? Oh, sorry. Excuse me? You mind if I just squeeze by here?
This has been The Sounds of the Old World.
Brought to you by Progressive, where drivers can still switch and save like it's 2019.
Quote today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
This is your last chance to give a great holiday gift, but time is ticking. Luckily for you, Dell has amazing savings on XPS and Alienware computers with Intel Core processors. There are also deals on an incredible selection of the best electronics brands like Samsung, all with free shipping on everything. If you get moving today, you can get great gifts under the tree in time. Just call 800-BY-DELL. That's 800-BY-DELL.
It is the Blitz. You're on ESPN San Antonio. Blitz brought to you by the Thompson Law Firm. Jason Thompson. His website, alawyerforus.com if you've been in a car collision. There are no such things as accidents. Hire Jason Thompson. Call Jason Thompson for a free consultation, knowing full well that he will take care of everything, including the insurance companies, while you take care of getting well and your family. Jason, as we head into a weekend, this is kind of we're starting to get to the separation time in all of our football leagues. There's going to be at least one upset. Where's it going to come from? Where's the upset coming from this weekend? Who's going to go down?
The Mambo Kings.
No upset if they go down. That's an expectation.
Dude, you know, we got like 6 people in our league that are tied for first.
Yeah, aren't you one of them?
Yeah, I am, but I'm down with a bullet, man. I'm not any good. I built up a bunch of points and a lot of wins early in the season, but I've slowly attrited my way down to mediocrity.
You keep saying that it's like your battered Aggie syndrome. You keep telling yourself you're not very good, but you are. Although I tell you what, you look at upsets, and I'm just going to do this to upset you. Because you're so damn nervous about this Auburn game tomorrow, and I do find it interesting. I think A&M goes in there and rolls, and I know that it bothers you when I say that, but I think that. But it's not lost on me that so many people are picking Auburn and the 5.5 points. They're picking A&M to win, but if it's a tight game, I don't trust Kellen Mond in a tight game. I think either A&M wins big or it's going to get ugly. I mean, the 11 a.m. kickoff, while it might not bother Andrew Monaco, it does bother me. Teams don't play as sharp at 11 a.m. College kids don't function at 11 a.m. Might be good for the older coach, but there's something about that 11 a.m. kickoff. But I see more and more people picking A&M to win, but Auburn to cover.
And that's of great concern. And a lot could be attributed, or at least could be ascribed to a several-week layoff for what A&M did with, and especially Kellen, looking at that offense. It seemed like it was just missing a gear. Auburn is a different animal because Auburn, Gus Malzahn's offense at the very least is built on trickeration. And if you are not disciplined, and especially if you're an Aggie football team like they are that is young and hyper-aggressive, he will trick play you out of a game. He will misdirection you and take you completely out. And if A&M does find a deficit, if they do find themselves behind, and we know that the run game's effective, and if the reliance on Kellen Moore in those kind of games, there's been a few successes, but mostly failures. That's of concern. And then you juxtapose that with just the need to, as Taylor McHargue told us earlier, he believes they need a signature win. They've got to be effective here. They've got to win by a couple of 3 touchdowns. So the committee, which hasn't given them much credit prior, needs to place them over Ohio State regardless of what they do.
Here's the problem is we have short memories. A&M got a signature win over Florida in a game that Kellen Mond was spectacular in.
Truth.
He needs another game like that. It's not like Kellen to have back-to-back poor games. So if he was going to have a game where he was off target against a crap LSU team, is probably the game to dirt a bunch of balls, short hop things and just be off target. He's got to be good tomorrow. And you talk about Auburn's offense. All the trickeration. I mean, they got 2 different mascots. You don't know what they're going to do. I mean, of course they're going to go with trickeration in this game. I think A&M wins. I think Urban Meyer is going to be the star of the Fox pregame show tomorrow, one of the few times that I probably won't watch game day all the way through because I want to see what Urban Meyer says about the Longhorns game. And Fox has to give that Longhorn game a ton of attention because it's on their air at 11 right after their show. I mean, that is their game, so they are going to build that up. I want to see how Urban Meyer looks sitting in his chair or the resort in Horseshoe Bay, wherever the hell he's going to be piping in his video from. But does he say the name Tom Herman? I mean, it could be a good 9 a.m. drinking game. Does he actually say the name Tom Herman? Does he compliment players that are thinking about the transfer portal? Does he talk about recruit? It's going to be spectacular tomorrow.
Hey, let's watch some high school football. You can do it right here. Churchill and Roosevelt coming up next. This has been The Blitz.
What better gift for the holidays than having your rent or mortgage paid for all of 2021?